Hey everyone. Hope you're all doing well. We're all about bringing high-quality web novel audiobooks to life, and most of our content is completely free to enjoy. Just a quick note, web novels and web novel audiobooks aren't the same thing. Simply reading a novel out loud doesn't always make for a great listening experience. That's why I go through multiple rounds of rewriting and careful editing for every chapter to make sure the narration flows naturally and immerses you in the story, just like reading it yourself. These audiobooks are not just direct copies of the original novels. I've adapted them for a smoother, more engaging experience. And to be fully transparent, these adaptations are made for commercial purposes, so some chapters are paid content. But don't worry, this process is fully copyright compliant. I do all of this because I truly love web novels and audiobooks. I'm a huge fan, and this story is one of my personal favorites. YouTube update: recently, YouTube flagged some of our content for including mature themes, realistic violence, and darker story elements. As a result, we've decided to stop uploading anything that violates YouTube's guidelines. If you'd like access to the full, uncut versions including the more intense or mature content, you can find them on our Patreon page, where we upload everything first. Available now on Patreon: I Am a Legendary Boss audiobook, Versatile Mage starting with the White Tiger Pendant, Naruto the Wind Calamity, the Necromancer is amassing troops like crazy in the apocalypse, the mighty dragons are dead, Naruto, leader of Hidden Grass Village, Naruto Uchiha's Unserious Saga, your lord has a screw loose, Apocalypse I can see the health point bar, killing monsters drops loot, Starsea Fleet Age of the Lord, my monster fuses everything, Naruto, I traveled with a max level account, Fate in Bleach Unlimited Blade Works, killed for 100 years in Hueco Mundo, Aizen invited me to Soul Society, the world conquest giving birth to become a god, my master only breaks through on the edge of death, Bleach the Invincible Slacker from Rukongai, Naruto's Special Shop, One Piece the strongest female pirate cruise, Reborn as Danzō's grandson, must I offend the entire ninja world, Naruto starting with snatching the Mangekyo Sharingan, Naruto Card King, in Hueco Mundo with Shindu template, Naruto the Hidden Danzō, my journey as 4th Kusagakure, Naruto Troublesome Ninja Haruto, Naruto the Hyuga Mastermind, Bleach the strongest Shinigami, Bleach the 5th Division Captain, Fate Ultimate Antagonist, Fate of DXD, Fate I Heard After Death, you can ascend to the throne of heroes, Fate DXD Archer Reborn, Fate beginning with Type Moon, a Berserk Heart, Fate Grand Order Insert, One Piece take the Uchiha clan to the Grand Line, One Piece don't worry, I'm a doctor, building harem and dungeon with monster girls, DXD, Multiverse the day-to-day life of the Sephiroth hero, I'm the bad guy but heroines are obsessed with me, in Naruto, I have an affair with Mikoto and Kushina, many children bring happiness, a shameless start, Naruto Reborn with a Tenseigan, Naruto sleeping invincible, One Piece, life choice ask me to kiss marine goddess Hina, reborn as the genius son of the richest family, start by eating jacket fruit model, jacket human devil fruit, the days of being the richest man in the ninja world, the Witcher and Madara Uchiha, villain I possess the dragon Yang Dao physique, all saintesses turns into villainesses, all beautiful girls want to stick with me, interdimensional farming in another world, Naruto from Hidden Leaf Village to One Piece, and more. Most of our content there is free, and it's the best place to follow and support our work. The default audio speed is set to 3x, but if that's too fast for you, just let me know, I'm happy to adjust it. Got a favorite web novel you'd love to hear as an audiobook? Drop a suggestion. I'm always open to new ideas. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, X for the latest updates, new releases, and behind-the-scenes content. Thanks so much for your continued support and happy listening. Chapter 1, The Fallen Kingdom. Oh, come on. 2 against 1? Really? You cowards can't handle me solo, huh? Alex slams his fist on the desk, his eyes glued to the screen as explosions and fire rain down on his virtual kingdom. I've been holding you off for hours. Is that all you've got? Pathetic. Both your kingdoms combined couldn't wipe me out. His chat box is filled with angry messages, rapid-fire insults, and the occasional laughing emoji from his enemies. Enemy 1, stop crying, bro. This is war. Enemy 2, your kingdom's toast, noob. Noob? Noob? I've got twice the power of your puny castles, and you know it. You wouldn't dare face me one-on-one, you little rats. He quickly switches between tabs, issuing commands to his troops and fortifying his defenses. His hands are trembling, not from fear, but pure adrenaline. I'm gonna make you regret this team up. Just wait till I rebuild, your kingdoms are next. No alliances will save you then. Another notification pops up, one of his strongholds has fallen. Are you kidding me? Fine, take it. You're only making me angrier, and trust me, you don't want that. He cracks open an energy drink and takes a long sip before diving back in. determined to fight until the bitter end. Stupid junk. Just hold on for a little longer, alright? I'm almost there. He's sweating, his fingers flying over the keyboard of an ancient computer. The fans wheeze like an old man out of breath, and the screen flickers with static every few seconds. Come on, you piece of crap, don't quit on me now. The year is 2050, and computers are a relic of the past, banned after they explode all the time. But in the slums, people like Alex have no choice. They scavenge, repair, and hope their machines don't blow up in their faces. The screen flashes a warning, overload imminent. Oh, shut up. I just need 5 more minutes. Alarms blare from the computer, and smoke starts to curl from the back. Alex barely notices, too focused on dodging enemy attacks in his game. Yes. Got you, you bast. The computer lets out a high-pitched whine, and before he can finish his sentence, there's a deafening boom. The explosion rocks his tiny room, and shards of metal and plastic fly everywhere. For a moment, there's nothing but silence, then the sound of debris settling. Alex's ears ring, and everything goes black. When Alex opens his eyes, a sharp pain shoots through his head, and he groans. Fuck. That junk exploded in my face. He rubs his temples, trying to ease the throbbing. As his vision clears, he freezes. His eyes widen in disbelief as he takes in the room around him. It's grand and ominous, with towering black walls, crimson drapes, and intricate dark carvings along the furniture. What the? The air feels heavy, almost electric. A massive bed, adorned with velvet sheets and surrounded by glowing runes, dominates the center of the room. Wait a second. Isn't this? He stands up, still groggy, and stumbles toward an ornate mirror hanging on the wall. When he sees his reflection, his jaw drops. Instead of his own face, he's staring at the sharp, regal features of his game character, the Demon King he'd been playing just minutes ago. His crimson eyes gleam, and a wicked grin spreads across his face. No way. No freaking way. This is my character. Did I get reincarnated? The thought sends a rush of excitement through him. His heart pounds in his chest as he looks down at his hands, flexing his clawed fingers. He touches the elaborate armor that now covers his body. This is insane. But awesome. Instead of panic, a wild grin spreads across his face. Hell yeah. Screw my old life. I had nothing there anyway. This is my chance to live like a king. Alex is still marveling at his new body, turning side to side as he admires his reflection. Damn, my 3 hours of tweaking every little detail in the character creation finally paid off. I'm very handsome. Suddenly, the sound of a door creaking open draws his attention. He spins around, his cape swirling dramatically. Standing in the doorway is a tall, humanoid bunny maid with silver fur and long ears that twitch slightly. Her uniform is elegant yet practical, and her piercing blue eyes lock onto him. It's Drya, his personal maid from the game. Drya steps forward and bows deeply, her voice soft yet commanding. Your Majesty, you're finally awake. Alex blinks, stunned for a moment, then breaks into a wide grin. Alex, holy crap. Drya. You're real? She tilts her head slightly, her expression calm but curious. Of course, Your Majesty. Is something amiss? Alex suppresses a laugh, still unable to believe what's happening. No, nothing's wrong. Everything's perfect, actually. Drya straightens up, her face showing a flicker of relief. That's wonderful to hear, Your Majesty. Your kingdom awaits your guidance. All right, Drya. Let's get down to business. He straightens his posture, trying to look as kingly as possible. Can you tell me what's been happening these past few days? Drya nods, her ears twitching slightly. Yes, Your Majesty. While we were at war with the 2 human kingdoms, you suddenly lost consciousness during a crucial moment. Without your leadership, the 5 lords took command of the troops to defend the kingdom. They fought valiantly, but over time, our forces began to waver under the relentless assault. Alex frowns, his hand resting on his chin as he listens intently. Then, at the height of the battle, a mysterious white light engulfed the capital city. Before anyone could understand what was happening, the entire kingdom's capital was teleported to this unknown forest. It's as if the land itself was torn from its place and replanted here. Teleported? An entire city? Drya nods again. Yes, Your Majesty. We are still unsure of the cause or the purpose, but we are safe for now. The forest surrounding us seems vast and uncharted, with no sign of our previous enemies. Chapter 2, The 5 Lords. Interesting. So, we're out of immediate danger, but it sounds like we've lost a lot. He pauses, narrowing his eyes. What about the 5 lords? Are they in the revival stone? Drya's ears droop slightly, and her tone turns solemn. Yes, Your Majesty. Almost all the top officers perished in the war. The Lord's souls are currently in stasis within the revival stone, awaiting resurrection. Hearing this, Alex's excitement fades, his shoulders slumping slightly. I see. So we're down to the bare bones. That's a lot to take in. He sighs, then straightens up, his voice steady. He sighs, then straightens up, his voice steady. All right, you may go, Drea. I'll summon you if I need anything. As you wish, Your Majesty. She bows deeply and exits the room, leaving Alex alone in the dimly lit chamber. He rubs his temples, deep in thought. Phantoms. In an instant, two shadowy figures materialize from the darkness, their forms twisting and flickering like living shadows. They kneel before him, their voices low and reverent. Your Majesty, what are your orders? We await your command. Alex smirks, impressed by their eerie presence. Good. You're my assassins, my intelligence gatherers. I'll need your skills soon enough. The shadows nod in unison, their forms rippling slightly. Alex thinks for a moment, then mutters to himself. How do I check their status? And mine, for that matter? As soon as the thought crosses his mind, a glowing, semi-transparent screen appears before him, displaying detailed information. He sees the names of the two phantoms, their levels, and their roles as members of the shadow unit. Huh, so it's just like the game. Even better. He swipes through the interface mentally, reviewing their stats. The phantoms are both low-level, with skills specializing in stealth, assassination, and reconnaissance. Damn, they're only level 300. He frowns, his excitement quickly dimming. That's the lowest rank in the shadow unit. This isn't good. He looks at the two phantoms, their forms wavering like dark flames. How many of you are left? There are only 5 of us remaining, Your Majesty. Alex's jaw tightens as he processes the news. Only 5? There should be at least 50 members in the shadows. We've lost almost everyone. He exhales sharply and nods. All right, here's your task. You 5 will scout the surrounding territory. I need a full report by the end of the day, every detail you can find about this forest, any potential threats, or useful resources. Understood, Your Majesty. We will not fail. The phantoms bow before dissolving into the shadows, leaving Alex alone once more. The phantoms bow before dissolving into the shadows, leaving Alex alone once more. We're in worse shape than I thought. Let's see what's left of the treasury. I'll need every resource I can get to rebuild. He steps out of his chambers, the cold stone halls of the castle eerily silent. The once bustling corridors are now lifeless, save for the flickering torchlight casting long shadows on the walls. As he walks, he spots a stationary royal guard standing at attention. The royal guards were formidable warriors, each at least level 500. Alex, you there? The guard snaps to attention, his armor gleaming faintly under the torchlight. Your Majesty. How many royal guards remain? The guard's voice is steady but heavy. Only 2 of us survived, Your Majesty. Alex's expression darkens as he clenches his fists. He thought, 2. Out of a full battalion, that's about 500. This isn't just a setback, it's a disaster. He waves the guard off. Alex, return to your post. We'll need every bit of strength we have left. Guard, yes, Your Majesty. He quickens his pace, determined to uncover whatever remnants of power his kingdom still holds. Shortly after, Alex arrives at the treasury. The massive black doors, etched with glowing red runes, slide open automatically with a deep, resonant hum. The sight before him is as he remembers, a long hallway aligned with towering statues of monstrous creatures, each one seemingly alive, their eyes as though following his every step. He walks forward, his footsteps echoing in the silent corridor. This treasury is exclusive to me. Not even the 5 lords can set foot in here without my permission. His gaze sweeps over the statues, lingering on the razor-sharp claws and the gleaming fangs. If someone tries to break in, they're dead before they even reach the treasure. He smirks, feeling a sense of pride. He thought, the door alone is nearly indestructible, level 1000 strength required to destroy it. And if someone actually manages to get past, they'll face 10 level 800 guardians. No one surviving that. He stops in front of a particularly fearsome statue, a chimera with 3 heads, each snarling in a different direction. These guardians. They're my insurance. He runs his fingers along the cold, smooth stone of the statue. I got so lucky when that boss dropped the treasury blueprint. Spent an entire year grinding for the materials. No shortcuts, no real money to buy them. He chuckles bitterly, his voice echoing off the high ceilings. Everyone laughed at me back then. Said I'd never finish it. But look at this masterpiece now. As he reaches the end of the hallway, he places his hand on a glowing crystal embedded in the final door. The runes flare brightly, scanning his aura before the heavy door creaks open, revealing the vault inside. The door groans as it swings open, revealing the interior of the treasury. Alex steps inside, his anticipation high, but the sight before him makes him freeze. His eyes widen, and his breath catches. What the hell? His hands tremble, and a wave of rage surges through him. Empty? Where's all the gold coins? He scans the room frantically. A few weapons and pieces of armor remain, their faint auras glowing on their pedestals, but the mounds of gold he painstakingly amassed over years of grinding are nowhere to be found. Damn it. He slams his fist against the wall, the sound echoing in the vast chamber. Without the gold, I can't use the revival stone. I can't bring back my subordinates. Chapter 3, Divine Items. The realization hits him hard. He paces, his mind racing. To resurrect even one of the lowest rank soldiers, I need 1,000 gold coins. This doesn't make sense. How could everything just vanish? He stops abruptly, glaring at the remaining items. Alex can only sigh helplessly. Let's see if the divine items are still here, at least. He walks to a section of the treasury's wall and presses his hand against a seemingly ordinary panel. The stone shifts and grinds as a secret door slowly opens, revealing a small, dimly lit chamber. Inside, 3 pedestals stand, each holding a glowing artifact. Alex breathes a small sigh of relief. At least these are still here. He steps forward, his eyes drawn to the first item, a crimson sword, its blade etched with runes that pulse faintly like a beating heart. The hilt is wrapped in black leather, with a ruby embedded in its crossguard. The air around the sword seems to shimmer with heat. Hellfire edge. The blade that can cut through anything, even space-time itself. It's said one swing could sever dimensions. He moves to the second pedestal. A simple silver ring rests there, unassuming in its design, but the air around it hums with a faint energy. Alex, the null ring. Wipes out any curse, debuff, or negative status effect. Even divine-level curses will get weakened by 50%. A literal cheat code. He picks it up, slipping it onto his finger. A cool, soothing sensation spreads through his body. Finally, he turns to the third pedestal, where a golden book lies, its cover engraved with intricate patterns that seem to shift under the light. Despite its beauty, Alex frowns. The Eternal Codex. The one divine item I still can't figure out. It won't open, and no one's ever been able to decipher its purpose. He lifts the book, feeling its weight. The gold gleams, its surface untarnished by time. Alex remembers trying to sell it once, only for potential buyers to laugh after learning it couldn't be used. Even as a divine item, it's worthless if no one knows what it does. Still, he places the codex back gently, his gaze lingering on it. Most top kingdoms have dozens of divine items, and I only have 3. But for a free-to-play player, this is a miracle. He steps back, taking in the sight of the 2 divine items. Alex already wears the null ring, its comforting hum a reminder of its passive protection. As for the Hellfire Edge, he hesitates. I've always been cautious with this thing. He mutters, staring at the crimson blade. In the game, it drained HP constantly. But still. Curiosity wins. He reaches out and grasps the hilt. The moment his fingers close around it, a rush of scorching heat surges up his arm. Suddenly, a transparent screen materializes before him, warning, insufficient level to wield Hellfire Edge. Current penalty, minus 10% HP per second. Death in 10 seconds if usage continues. His eyes widen in alarm. Are you kidding me? His HP bar, now visible in the corner of his vision, plummets rapidly. Without another thought, he slams the blade back onto its pedestal. The draining sensation stops immediately, and his HP stabilizes. He exhales sharply, wiping the sweat from his brow. That was close. Way too close. Damn thing's just as dangerous as I remember. He glares at the sword, his heart still pounding. Wait a second. He mutters, his brows furrowing. Why did it say insufficient level? I'm max level, level 1000. There's no way I'm underleveled for anything in this game. Suspicion growing, he swipes his hand through the air, summoning his status screen. The glowing panel appears, and his eyes scan the familiar layout. But what he sees next makes his stomach drop. Status, level 1000 lock, level 100, 10% unlocked, what? Alex's voice echoes in the chamber. He frantically scrolls through the details, disbelief flooding his features. This can't be right. I was maxed out. I spent years grinding to hit 1000, no way I'm back at 100. Then, at the bottom of the screen, bold text catches his attention. To unlock your levels, gain citizens and expand your kingdom. He glances back at the Hellfire Edge, its runes pulsing faintly. That explains why I can't use you. I'm not even close to the level I need to wield that thing. He swipes the status screen away and rubs his temples, trying to calm his racing thoughts. Alright, fine. If that's how it is, Then I'll play by the rules. I'll rebuild the kingdom, gather citizens, and unlock my levels, piece by piece. Alex steps out of the treasury, determination hardening his features. The dim corridors of the castle stretch before him, lit only by flickering torches. As he approaches the main gate, he calls out, his voice resonating through the empty halls. Guards. You're coming with me. The 2 remaining royal guards appear almost instantly, their heavy footfalls echoing as they march to his side. Their monstrous forms loom in the torchlight, one, a hulking orc clad in black plate armor, his tusks gleaming, and the other, a lithe lizardman with emerald scales, his eyes sharp and vigilant. Your Majesty, the orc rumbles, bowing slightly. What are your orders? We're going outside. I need to see the state of the capital. The guards exchange brief glances before nodding in unison. As you command. The trio steps through the castle's grand entrance, the massive iron doors creaking open to reveal the sprawling city beyond. Alex inhales deeply, the familiar yet unsettling scent of the monster kingdom hitting him, a mix of damp stone, faint sulfur, and the earthy musk of creatures. He descends the stairs, his boots clicking against the obsidian steps, and surveys the city. Towering spires made of jagged blackstone pierce the sky, their surfaces etched with glowing crimson runes. Streets of dark cobblestone wind through the city, lined with grotesque statues of ancient beasts. The lanterns flickering along the roads emit an eerie green light, casting long shadows on the cracked walls of buildings. Chapter 4, Goblin Village. But there's no sound. No movement. The once thriving monster capital, filled with the clamor of merchants, the roars of beasts, and the laughter of goblin children, is now a ghost town. Alex sighs, his breath visible in the cold air. As expected. Not a single citizen left, he mutters, his tone bitter. A city built for millions, now empty. The lizardman guard hisses softly, his tongue flicking out. We'll rebuild, Your Majesty. Monsters are resilient. Alex smirks faintly, his gaze sweeping over the desolate streets. Resilient, yes. But scattered. He walks further into the city, his guards flanking him. They pass a massive fountain in the shape of a hydra, its multiple heads spewing streams of water into the cracked basin below. This kingdom was supposed to be different, Alex says quietly, more to himself than his guards. He thought, I chose monsters because everyone else picked humans, boring, predictable. I wanted a challenge, and I built this place from nothing. His voice rises, tinged with frustration. And now, it's all gone. Wiped out in one war. All that work. Gone in an instant. The orc guard speaks, his deep voice steady. Your Majesty, you're still here. As long as you live, this kingdom can rise again. Alex glances at him, his smirk returning, though faint. You're right. We're not done yet. He stops in the middle of a grand square, the silence pressing down on them like a weight. Alex stares at the empty square for a long moment, then turns sharply on his heel. Enough wondering. Back to the throne room, the guards silently follow as Alex strides through the deserted streets, his black cloak trailing behind him. The towering gates of the castle creak open as they approach, and soon he's seated on the massive obsidian throne, its jagged edges glinting in the dim torchlight. His fingers tap against the armrest as he waits, his crimson eyes fixed on the shadows dancing across the walls. The sun dips below the horizon, and the room darkens. Just as the last rays of light fade, the air shifts. From the darkness near the throne's base, a figure materializes, silent and fluid, as if stepping out of the void itself. A member of the shadow, clad in tattered black robes, kneels before Alex, their voice a low whisper. Your Majesty, we've scouted the area around the city. Alex leans forward, his gaze sharp. Report. The shadow continues, his tone steady despite the weight of his words. We've found scattered groups of monsters and beasts. None have ventured close to the capital, but they linger in the surrounding regions. And we found no trace of humans. Alex nods, his expression unreadable. Go on. There is a goblin village to the northeast, about half a day's journey on foot. We also encountered an unfamiliar monster to the south. Unfamiliar? Alex narrows his eyes. Describe it. The shadow tilts their head slightly, as if recalling the details. It stood over 10 feet tall, its skin a sickly green, with sharp tusks protruding from its lower jaw. Its body was muscular, but its features were brutish, almost porcine. Alex's eyes flicker with recognition. He waves his hand dismissively. Nice job. If there's nothing more, you can go. The shadow bows deeply before dissolving back into the darkness. Once alone, Alex leans back in his throne, his mind racing. That sounds like an orc, he murmurs to himself. But not the ones from the game. Those were massive, yes, but refined, intelligent, even. This pig-faced brute is something else entirely. He closes his eyes, piecing together the fragments of information. This world. It's similar, but not the same. Even the monsters are changing. Alex opens his eyes, his expression hardening as determination takes root in his chest. Even if I'm not in the game anymore, or if this is some entirely different world, it doesn't matter. I will conquer this world. It's mine to take, just like before. Alex smirks, then turns and strides back to the throne. He lowers himself into the seat, his sharp gaze fixed ahead, as though already envisioning the kingdom reborn. But that's enough for today. Tomorrow, I'll decide my next move. He leans back, letting the weight of the day settle over him, his mind already planning the steps to reclaim his lost empire. The torches flicker, and the room plunges into silence once more. The next day, Alex sits on his throne, his eyes fixed on the vast empty hall before him. His fingers tap rhythmically against the armrest, and a faint sigh escapes his lips. If only Luan were here, he murmurs. His voice is soft, almost wistful. Luan, my best strategist. In the game, the I was so advanced that I could rely on him to devise flawless plans for conquest. Compared to the strategies of those top kingdoms, Luan's were unmatched. His crimson gaze darkens slightly as memories of their countless victories flood his mind. He straightens, brushing the thought aside, and calls out. Shadow. In an instant, the room shifts. From the dim recesses of the chamber, figures materialize, their forms fluid and silent. One by one, the members of the Shadow kneel before him, their black robes billowing like smoke. I have a task for you. The Shadow nearest him speaks, your command, your majesty. I want you to seek out the leader of that goblin village to the northeast. Invite them here. The Shadow remains still, listening intently as Alex continues. But listen closely. Refrain from using brute force or intimidation. No threats. No fear. Make it clear this is an invitation, not a demand. Is that clear? Alex's gaze sweeps over them. Crystal, your majesty, the lead Shadow replies. Good, Alex says, leaning back into his throne. You're dismissed. Carry out the task immediately. Without another word, the shadows dissolve back into the darkness, leaving the room silent once more. Alex watches as they vanish, his mind already working through potential outcomes. He sits in silence, waiting for the results. Chapter 5, Goblins arrived at the city in the deep forest. The goblin village hums with quiet activity. Small wooden huts are clustered around a central clearing, their makeshift chimneys releasing thin trails of smoke into the canopy above. A group of goblin children plays near a bubbling creek, their laughter mingling with the rustling leaves. Inside the largest hut, the goblin chief stands by a rough-hewn wooden table, his gnarled hands resting on its surface. He's an older goblin, his green skin mottled with age, and his eyes sharp and wary. Is everything already prepared? A female goblin steps forward, her arms laden with baskets of wild mushrooms and roots. She bows slightly. Yes, chief. All the ingredients for cooking have been gathered. Good. The hunters should have returned by now. I just hope they didn't run into any trouble. Especially with those damned orcs lurking around. Another goblin, a younger male sharpening a crude spear, pipes up. The orcs haven't been seen this far north in weeks. I doubt they'll find our hunters. The chief shakes his head. Never underestimate those brutes. They're cunning when they need to be. We've been careful, chief. The hunters know the safest paths. Just then, the sound of footsteps approaches from the edge of the clearing. The goblin children scatter, their playful shouts turning to curious whispers. The chief turns, his hand instinctively gripping the hilt of the dagger at his side. The chief exhales, his posture relaxing. You're back. What did you find? The lead hunter grins, tossing the bundle to the ground. It unravels to reveal a collection of fresh game, rabbits, a few wild birds, and even a small boar. Enough to feed the whole village, chief, the hunter says proudly. And no sign of orcs. The chief nods. Well done. Let's get everything prepared. Today, we feast. While the goblins prepare for their feast, the shadows deepen at the village entrance. From the dark edge of the forest, 4 cloaked figures emerge, their movements silent and fluid. The villagers pause, their chatter fading to uneasy murmurs. The lead shadow steps forward, his voice calm but firm. Good day to you, goblins. The hunters immediately tense, their instincts kicking in. Goryuk, a burly goblin with a scar across his left cheek and a knife in hand, leaps forward without hesitation, aiming for the shadow leader's throat. But before he gets close, the shadow shifts like smoke, evading Goryuk's strike effortlessly. With a flick of his wrist, the hunter crumples to the ground, unconscious. Gasps ripple through the villagers as their strongest hunter, Brak, steps forward, his spear at the ready. What just happened? His eyes dart between the fallen Goryuk and the unmoving shadow. The shadow leader raises his hands, palms out. Calm yourselves. We are not here to harm you. Your comrade is merely unconscious, and he will wake soon. His voice carries an eerie authority. We come with orders from His Majesty. He invites you to his kingdom. The Goblin Chief, Gornok. What nonsense is this? There's no kingdom in these woods. Perhaps you've yet to see it, but it exists. We offer safe passage. His Majesty wishes to speak with you. Gornok glances at Brack, his most trusted hunter. What do you think? Brack tightens his grip on his spear. We don't have much choice. If this one wanted us dead, we'd already be corpses. The chief gives a slow nod. Very well. But if this is a trick, we won't go down quietly. Understood. Prepare yourselves. We'll leave immediately. After half an hour of following the mysterious person through the dense forest, the goblins emerge into a vast clearing. Before them stands a towering wall, its dark stone glistening faintly under the evening light. The structure looms over them, its height seemingly touching the clouds. The goblins freeze in place, their eyes wide in awe and disbelief. Gornok steps forward, his voice filled with astonishment. When did such a huge city get built here? I've lived in these woods my whole life. I've never seen anything like this. Brack said. We hunted here just last week, Chief. There was nothing but trees. This place. It shouldn't be here. The shadow leader, now standing just ahead of them, speaks without turning. You just need to keep moving. As they approach a smaller gate set into the wall, the shadows silently fade, leaving the goblins alone. 2 armored guards stand at the gate, their massive forms barely moving. Brack's eyes narrow as he studies them. The guards radiate an oppressive aura, their sheer presence sending a chill down his spine. His instincts scream at him to turn and run. Gornok notices Brack's tense stance. What is it? Brack's voice is low, almost a whisper. These guards. They're strong. As strong as that mysterious person who led us here. Gornok frowns, glancing nervously at the guards. Stronger than any orc you've faced. Brack nods. Easily. One of the guards steps forward, their armor gleaming even in the dim light. Their voice is deep and resonant, echoing slightly in the quiet. Go inside. Someone is waiting for you all. The gate creaks open, revealing a wide street that leads into the city. Without another word, the goblins follow, their steps hesitant. As they step through the gate, their jaws drop. Instead of the bustling city they'd imagined, they're met with silence. The streets are eerily empty, the only sounds coming from the wind that whistles through the towering spires and massive, ornate buildings. This place feels like a ghost city, Brack mutters, his grip tightening on his spear. Gornok nods, his eyes darting around. The city is vast, its architecture far beyond anything he could have dreamed. Colossal arches, monstrous statues, and intricate carvings of beasts and creatures. At the center of the open plaza stands a single figure. Their golden armor glints under the faint light, and his presence exudes authority. As the goblins approach, the armored figure speaks, their voice calm and measured. I am here on behalf of His Majesty. He wishes to speak with the chief of your village. Chapter 6, Chief Gornok. Gornok steps forward. I am the chief. But may I bring one of my people with me? He gestures toward Brack. The soldier inclines his head slightly. You may. The soldier's gaze sweeps over the rest of the goblins. As for the rest of you, take your time. Explore the city. Everything you see is at your disposal. Brack exchanges a wary glance with Gornok. Chief, this city. It feels like something out of a dream. Are you sure about this? Gornok said. We already come this far. We'll see this through. As they walk through the grand streets toward the palace, the silence between them stretches. Gornok finally breaks it, his voice hushed yet filled with awe. This city. It's enormous. I've never seen anything like it. Brack glances at the towering spires and elaborate carvings. Chief, you're the only one among us who's ever been to a human town. What do you think of this place? In my younger days, I did see a human city from the distance, bustling streets, tall buildings, markets overflowing with goods. But compared to this, that city was a village. This place feels like it belongs to a god. The palace looms before them, an awe-inspiring structure of dark, gleaming stone and towering spires that seem to pierce the sky. The intricate designs etched into its surface shimmer faintly, as if alive. The air around it feels heavy, charged with an unspoken power. Brack's voice is low. In this world, we're nothing but goblins, always scurrying to survive. What kind of king lives in a place like this? Gornok said. We're about to find out. Shortly after, they find themselves standing before a massive door, its surface carved with intricate runes that seem to pulse faintly. The royal guard halts, gesturing for them to proceed alone. The door creaks open, revealing a vast throne room bathed in a soft crimson glow. A powerful aura washes over them, heavy and oppressive. Both goblins instinctively lower their gazes, their legs trembling as they take cautious steps forward. Brack's voice is a whisper. Chief. I can't look up. It feels like my body won't let me. Stay calm, Gornok murmurs, though his own voice wavers. They walk further in, the sound of their footsteps swallowed by the eerie silence. When they reach the center of the room, Gornok gathers his strength and raises his head. His breath catches. Sitting upon a dark throne is a regal figure, a monster unlike any Gornok has ever seen. Crimson armor adorned with jagged edges covers his tall frame, and his pale skin gleams faintly under the dim light. Scales ripple along parts of his body, glinting like precious gems. His sharp, crimson eyes lock onto Gornok, and a chilling smile spreads across his face. You finally arrived, the figure says, his voice smooth yet carrying a weight that demands submission. Gornok immediately nudges Brack, who hesitates before dropping to one knee beside him. Your Majesty, Gornok says, his tone reverent but cautious. May I ask why you have summoned us lowly goblins to your great kingdom? The figure, Alex, leans forward slightly, his eyes narrowing as he studies Gornok. You know how to show courtesy. I'm impressed, he says with a faint smirk. Gornok bows his head lower. I have some knowledge of royalty, Your Majesty. But still, I find your invitation unexpected. Alex chuckles softly. Then I will be direct. I want you and your people to join my kingdom. The words hang in the air, leaving both goblins stunned. Brack glances at Gornok, his disbelief clear. Your Majesty. Forgive my boldness, but... Are you certain? We are but goblins, hunted and scorned by many. Why would a king of your stature want us? Alex leans back on his throne. As you can see, my kingdom is empty. I need citizens. Even if you're goblins, you are welcome here. His tone softens slightly, but the authority in his voice remains. Gornok looks up briefly, his expression filled with a mix of gratitude and confusion. I understand, Your Majesty. Thank you for not discriminating against us goblins. It's rare for anyone to treat us as equals. Alex's lips curve into a smile. Haha, in my kingdom, every monster is equal. Strength, loyalty, and determination are what matter here. So, Gornok, will you join me? Gornok nods slowly. It will be our pleasure, Your Majesty. But I do have a request. A request? Yes, Your Majesty. My people. We are not used to such a vast city. It would overwhelm us. If possible, I would like for us to remain in our village. We will, however, pledge our loyalty and pay you tribute in gold coins every month, in exchange for your protection. Alex's eyes gleam with interest. Gold coins, you say? Let me see them. Without hesitation, Gornok reaches into a pouch at his side and retrieves a handful of gold coins. He approaches the throne and places them on the ground before Alex, bowing deeply as he does so. Alex picks up one of the coins, turning it over in his hand. His heart races, though his expression remains composed. These. They're identical to the ones I used in the game. A surge of excitement rushes through him. If this is true, I can use these to revive my subordinates. He hides his excitement behind a calm exterior, setting the coin aside. Interesting. Very well, Gornok. I will allow your village to remain as it is. As for protection. Alex's eyes flick to the darkened corner of the throne room. Come forth, he commands. Gornok's voice trembles as he stares. Sir. Are you a hobgoblin? I am, he replies, his voice deep and resonant. My name is Galek, a humble soldier of His Majesty. Brack instinctively steps back, his hands trembling. Chief. A hobgoblin. They're supposed to be nothing but legends. How can one be here? Alex watches the exchange, his expression unreadable but inwardly satisfied. They're already looking at Galek like he's a god. This will ensure their unwavering loyalty. Chapter 7, Rufu. Alex decides to gather more information. He leans forward slightly on his throne, addressing Gornok. Tell me, is there a city near my kingdom? Somewhere I could learn more about this world. A city, Your Majesty? No, not nearby. But there is a town called Gilderock, governed by Lord Rufu. It's a small place, but it's important. They trade with the humans and that's where we get our gold coins when we sell our goods. Alex said. This Lord Rufu, what kind of monster is he? Gornok shrugs. I've only seen him from afar during trade gatherings, so I don't have any idea. He seems fair, though strict. Gilderock is well protected, and the humans seem to respect him. Brack interjects. Chief, do you think it's wise to mention our trade with humans to His Majesty? Alex waves a hand dismissively. Relax. I'm not here to punish or restrict you. Continue trading as you see fit. Thank you, Your Majesty. If it pleases you, I can draw a simple map to show you where Gilderock is located. Do that, Alex says. I'll need it. Gornok quickly sketches a rough map on a piece of parchment provided by Drya. He hands it to the king with a deep bow. Here, your majesty. I hope it serves you well. Alex takes the map, studying it for a moment before tucking it away. You've been helpful, Gornok. Now, return to your village and prepare your people. Yes, your majesty, Gornok says. He bows deeply once more before turning to leave with Kilik and Brack following closely behind. Once they've exited the throne room, Alex slumps back into his throne, muttering under his breath. Damn. That answers my question. I'm not in the game world anymore. He pauses, letting the realization sink in. Well, this might actually be better. Alex glances at the map again, then looks over to Drya, who stands quietly at his side. Drya, can you get my beast skin armor? Drya nods immediately. Yes, your majesty. Right away. While she's gone, Alex leans back in his throne, his fingers drumming lightly on the armrest. The beast skin armor isn't impressive by any means, it's a low-level piece of gear he'd long since outgrown in terms of stats. But it had one invaluable feature, it allowed the wearer to blend in perfectly. The enchantment on the armor dulls his imposing presence and slightly alters his appearance, making him look like an ordinary monster. It had been his favorite tool for infiltrating enemy territory and causing chaos in the game. Minutes later, Drya returns, carrying the simple, worn-looking armor in her arms. She kneels before him, holding it out with reverence. Your beast skin armor, as requested, your majesty. Alex stands and steps down from the throne, taking the armor from her. He smirks, running a hand over its rough surface. This old thing. It's not much to look at, but it never failed me before. Drya tilts her head slightly. If I may ask, your majesty. Why this armor? You have far grander pieces. Alex chuckles, slipping off his crimson gauntlets. Exactly why I'm wearing it. I don't want to attract attention. He begins putting on the beast skin armor, its enchantment activating instantly. His sharp features soften, his height appears slightly reduced, and his crimson eyes become ordinary. Drya observes in silence as Alex finishes adjusting the armor. She takes a step forward, bowing slightly. Shall I prepare anything else, your majesty? Alex said. Just one more thing, prepare the royal carriage. I'll need it ready within the hour. As you command. Drya turns and strides out. Alex follows shortly after, the soft hum of the beast skin's enchantment making him feel less conspicuous. As he steps into the grand hall, his eyes fall upon a lizardman standing at attention near the entrance, a royal guard clad in dark-scaled armor, his posture disciplined and unwavering. You, Alex calls out, his voice commanding yet casual. The lizardman snaps to attention, his tail flicking slightly. Yes, your majesty? You're coming with me, Alex says as he walks past him, not breaking his stride. We're going somewhere. The lizardman's eyes gleam with a mix of surprise and honor. It would be my privilege to accompany you, your majesty. The lizardman is almost overwhelmed with pride. During the kingdom's peak, he was just another soldier guarding the throne room, barely acknowledged by the higher-ups. Now, to be chosen to accompany the king himself, it's more than he ever dreamed. He'd chosen the royal guard to accompany him for a reason. If trouble came in the form of a high-level enemy, something far beyond his current locked level of 200, the guard could serve as a valuable distraction, even for a second. That would be enough for Alex to activate the emergency teleport item hidden in his belt. Cautious and pragmatic, Alex had no intention of gambling with his life in this unfamiliar world. He didn't yet know if death here meant true death, and he wasn't eager to find out. They arrive at the palace gates, where Drya waits beside the sleek, black carriage. The intricate designs carved into its surface reflect the sunlight. The carriage is ready, your majesty, Drya announces, stepping aside to open the door. Alex studies the carriage for a moment, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. The design may seem simple at first glance, but its true power lies beneath. This wasn't just any carriage, it was one of the kingdom's prized artifacts, capable of flight thanks to the rare sky beast bound to its core. As he approaches, Alex nods to the lizardman. You'll take the reins. The lizardman blinks in surprise. Me, your majesty? I've never driven a sky carriage before. You'll learn fast, Alex says, his tone leaving no room for argument. The sky beast knows the way. Just keep your hands steady, and don't crash. Understood, your majesty. He climbs onto the driver's seat, gripping the reins with both hands. The reins are connected to a shimmering orb embedded in the front of the carriage, which hums faintly as he takes control. The orb glows brighter, and with a soft rumble, the carriage lifts gently off the ground. Chapter 8, Adventurer Group. The morning sun bathes the land in a golden hue as the carriage ascends into the clear sky. Alex sits back in the cushioned interior, gazing out of the small window. Within moments, He spots the silhouette of Gilderock on the horizon, its stone walls and clustered rooftops forming a sharp contrast against the forest surrounding it. Alex said. "Stop here. Keep us far from the town." "Yes, Your Majesty." The carriage hovers just above the ground, its soft hum fading. Alex steps out, his boots crunching on the forest floor. He inhales deeply, taking in the fresh scent of trees and earth. Alex turns to the lizardman guard, his expression sharp but calm. "Remember, don't call me Your Majesty inside. Just call me Alex." The lizardman's golden eyes widen briefly before he nods. "Why yes, Your Major, I mean. Sir Alex." Alex smirks, noting the guard's unease. The royal guard doesn't know whether to feel honored or terrified. They tread through the forest until they stumble upon a dirt road. It winds lazily through the trees, leading straight to the town in the distance. "Stay close," Alex instructs as they begin walking along the road. The air grows busier with distant chatter, the clinking of tools, and occasional roars of creatures. By the time they reach Gilderock's outskirts, the sun fully illuminates the town. It's packed with monsters of all shapes and sizes. Hulking ogres haul wooden crates, their muscles rippling under the strain. Winged harpies glide between crumbling rooftops, screeching at one another. Goblins haggle loudly over stolen trinkets, their shrill voices cutting through the general chaos. Alex narrows his eyes as he takes it all in. The town is a mess. Wooden shacks lean precariously against one another, stone buildings have chunks missing, and the streets are uneven and littered with debris. "This," Alex mutters, his tone laced with disdain, "is what they call a town?" The lizardman looks around nervously, unsure how to respond. "It's functional. At least for us monsters." They push their way through the crowded street. A bulky ogre nearly crashes into Alex, snorting in irritation before lumbering away. A group of orcs argue loudly over a broken cart, while a goblin merchant tries to hawk rusted weapons from a creaky stall. Alex thought, "Damn, this place feels like a fever dream." The noise, the smell, the clutter, it's overwhelming. He feels like he's walking through a bizarre nightmare, yet no one spares them a second glance. It's exactly as he wanted. His eyes flick to the lizardman beside him, now clad in simple, dull leather armor. Alex had ordered him to leave his golden royal guard armor in the carriage to avoid drawing attention. It seems to be working. Then Alex remembers something, his system. He thinks, "I should use it to check these monsters' levels." Focusing on a passing ogre, he activates the system. A translucent status screen materializes before him, displaying the creature's information. Ogre, level 30, he narrows his eyes and shifts his focus to a pair of bickering goblins. Goblin, level 8, turning his gaze to a harpy perched on a rooftop, the screen changes. Harpy, level 20, Alex frowns. He scans the street, checking various monsters at random. The highest level he finds is a burly orc struggling to lift a massive crate. Orc, level 25, they're all so weak, he thinks, his disbelief slowly turning into amusement. Is this entire town made up of low-level mobs? The lizardman guard notices Alex's expression shift and hesitates. "Sir Alex. Is something wrong?" "No," Alex says, smirking faintly. "Just realizing how fragile this place really is." The lizardman looks confused but doesn't press further. Meanwhile, just outside Gilderock, a caravan of wagons rumbles along the dirt road. At its head, a group of 5 adventurers walks in formation, their gear glinting in the sunlight. The leader, a grizzled man with a scar running down his left cheek, surveys the area with sharp, calculating eyes. His name is Doran, and his level 50 status is evident in his confident gait and the intricate, rune-etched sword at his side. "All right, listen up," Doran calls out, his voice firm but calm. "I know we've done this a dozen times already, but that doesn't mean you get to slack off. We're heading into Monster Lord territory, so stay alert." A tall woman with short cropped red hair, clad in white and gold healer's robes, scoffs. Her name is Lena. "Captain, we know the drill," she says, adjusting her staff. "It's been years, and nothing bad's ever happened." Doran gives her a sidelong glance, his expression unreadable. "Complacency gets people killed, Lena. You should know that." "Relax, Captain," another adventurer, a burly man with twin axes strapped to his back, chimes in. Tarak grins, his teeth flashing under his thick beard. "Even if we run into trouble, we're more than capable of handling it." Beside him, a wiry man with a bow slung across his shoulder, Ren, the group's sharpshooter, nods in agreement. He's right. With you at level 50 and us backing you up, nothing out here stands a chance. A younger warrior, Keel, carrying a broad shield, looks over nervously. "Still, it is a monster lord's territory. Maybe we should be more careful." His voice is tinged with uncertainty, betraying his relative inexperience. The merchant riding atop one of the wagons pipes up, chuckling. You all worry too much. That monster Rifu is not stupid. If he harmed us, the city master would wipe him and his little town off the map. He knows better. Doran sighs, his hand resting lightly on the hilt of his sword. Maybe. But it's not just Rifu I'm worried about. We don't know what other creatures roam this area. So, until we're out of Gilderock, everyone keeps their guard up. The group falls into a tense silence, the sound of the wagon wheels creaking and horses snorting filling the air. Shortly after, they finally arrive at the outskirts of Gilderock. The gates creak open, revealing the chaotic streets packed with monsters of every kind. As the caravan rolls in, the bustling crowd begins to part. Chapter 9, Dora and the monsters glare at the humans, their eyes filled with thinly veiled hatred. A hulking ogre growls under his breath, gripping the edge of a crate so tightly that the wood splinters. If not for Rifu's orders, these humans wouldn't last a second, a goblin mutters to another, his yellow teeth bared. Yeah, the other sneers. We'd tear them apart. It's no secret that humans and monsters despise one another. Monsters are hunted for their bodies, their hides, claws, and bones turned into weapons, potions, and talismans. In turn, monsters see humans as nothing more than prey, food, or worse. The orcs in particular have a reputation for abducting human women, using them to breed their next generation of warriors. The caravan presses forward, the humans feeling the weight of the monsters' hostile stares. Captain, Lena whispers, her fingers tightening around her staff. Like usual, they're looking at us like we're fresh meat. Doran doesn't turn, his gaze fixed ahead. Let them look. They know better than to try anything. They hate us, Keel mutters, his voice shaking slightly. You can feel it in the air. Tarak chuckles darkly, his hand resting on the hilt of one of his axes. Good. Let them hate us. Makes it all the sweeter when they remember who's in charge. Enough, Doran says sharply. Focus. We're here to deliver the goods and leave. No unnecessary confrontations. Alex watches the scene from the shadows of a crumbling building, his hood drawn low over his face. He spots the caravan immediately, the humans stand out like beacons among the monstrous crowd. Their formation is tight, their movements precise, and their wary glances give away their unease. Curious, Alex activates his system and examines them one by one. Level 50, level 30, level 30, level 30, level 28, the strongest is only level 50? He murmurs to himself, his expression indifferent. Moments later, the crowd of monsters begins to part, a low rumble of anticipation spreading through them. A bloated ogre strides forward, his massive bulk shaking the ground with each step. His skin is dark and rough, like hardened leather, and he wears a crude metal breastplate that barely contains his girth. On either side of him, two lean, muscular gnolls follow closely, their sharp teeth bared in a perpetual snarl. Rifu, level 80, gnoll guard, level 40, gnoll guard, level 42, Rifu's deep, gravelly voice booms as he approaches the merchant. You're late, Rifu growls, his small, beady eyes narrowing. The merchant hurriedly hops down from the wagon. Apologies, the roads were rough, but I've brought the usual supplies. Rifu snorts, crossing his massive arms. You'd better have. I don't tolerate delays. Doran steps forward, his hand resting casually on the hilt of his sword. His voice is steady, but there's a sharp edge to it. The delivery is intact, as always. Let's make this quick. Rifu sneers, waving a thick hand toward a nearby goblin. Get all the materials. Now. And make it fast, before I squish you to death. The goblin yelps, scrambling into the caravan. A few tense moments pass before it returns, arms overflowing with various herbs that can only be found deep in the forest, monster parts, and other assorted items. The goblin dumps everything unceremoniously onto the ground at Rifu's feet. Rifu grins, good. Now it's your turn, turning back to the merchant. I can't wait to see what you've brought me this time. Ha ha ha. The merchant quickly gestures to his men. Unload everything. Now. The human workers spring into action, hauling crates from the wagons. The first few contain slabs of raw meat, likely from hunted beasts, followed by crude healing potions and a few others Alex can't identify. Finally, they drop a hefty sack of gold coins at Rifu's feet. Alex narrows his eyes, watching intently. Low-grade healing potions and a bit of gold? That's hardly worth an excitement. His question is answered when the final wagon is unloaded. From its dark interior, two human women are dragged out, their wrists bound in heavy chains. They stumble forward, their eyes wide with fear and exhaustion, their thin clothes doing little to protect them from the chill in the air. The moment they're revealed, the crowd erupts in a mix of cheers and guttural laughter. Rifu's grin widens as he steps closer, towering over the trembling women. Ah, now this is what I've been waiting for. Fresh stock. He chuckles darkly. Alex feels a flicker of something, a distant, fleeting pang of recognition. as a human, at least in his past life. But now, standing among monsters, he feels no pity, no sympathy. The sight stirs nothing in him. He waves a hand dismissively. "All right, take these two women to my house first." The tools at his side immediately spring into action, grabbing the women by their chains. The women scream, their voices cracking with desperation. "Please. Help us." One of them wails, her tear-streaked face turning toward Doran and his group. The other woman sobs, her knees buckling as the gnolls drag her forward. "Don't leave us. Please." Doran's jaw tightens, his hand gripping the hilt of his sword so tightly that his knuckles turn white. He keeps his gaze down, his teeth grinding audibly. The merchant shifts uncomfortably, glancing at Doran. "Let it go," he murmurs, barely audible. "We can't afford a fight here." Rufu smirks, clearly enjoying the tension. "Here's your pay for the women," he says, kicking a small wooden box toward the merchant. "I even went out of my way to find this herb. So rare, I almost gave up." Doran says nothing. He crouches, picks up the wooden box, and tosses it to the merchant without a word. "Move out," Doran orders his group curtly, his voice low and cold. The merchant gives a quick nod, and his workers hurriedly load back onto the wagons. Alex watches from the shadows, his eyes narrowing. The scene plays out like a twisted drama, yet he remains detached, observing every detail. He notes Doran's clenched fists, the women's fading cries, and Rufu's triumphant sneer. Chapter 10, Missorn City. Once the caravan is a safe distance from the town, the group finally exhales, the oppressive atmosphere of the monster settlement left behind. The creak of wagon wheels fills the silence, but it doesn't last long. Lena breaks the silence, her voice sharp and filled with frustration. "Doran, are we really just going to turn a blind eye like nothing happened?" Doran keeps his eyes on the road ahead, his expression hard. "We have a job, Lena. That's all." Tarak growls low in his throat, his grip on the reins tightening. "Captain, I didn't sign up to deliver people, especially women, to those beasts. I thought we were better than this." The merchant riding alongside them sighs loudly. "Everyone, calm down. I understand this might not sit well with some of you, but let's not forget something important. Those two women? They're slaves. And you're hired adventurers. Your job is to deliver, not question." Lena's eyes blaze as she whirls on him. "Slaves? Is that supposed to make it better? Being a slave in a human city is one thing, but handing them over to monsters? You know damn well what'll happen to them." Her voice rises, trembling with anger. "They'll be kept as playthings for that filthy orc." The merchant holds up his hands defensively. "I don't like it any more than you do, but that's the reality of this world. We're not heroes." The merchant adjusts his hat, his voice firm. "And keep in mind, this order came from the city lord, Violin. You know how things work in Missorn. Lord Violin rules with an iron grip, and his word is law. If he says jump, we ask how high." Lena's anger flares again. "Lord Violin? So, what? Because some corrupt noble says it's okay, we just go along with it? Do his dirty work without question?" The merchant snaps. "You don't understand. Missorn thrives on these deals. The city's entire operation depends on maintaining trade routes like this, goods, information, and yes, even slaves. Defying Lord Violin isn't just reckless, it's suicide. You think he cares about a couple of adventurers? He'd have us all executed without a second thought." Doran finally speaks, his voice cold and steady. "Enough. What's done is done. We won't solve anything here." His eyes flick to Lena, then Tarak. "Focus on the mission. We're not here to pick fights with the city lords. If you have a problem with the orders, take it up with Violin when we're back in Missorn." Lena bites her lip, her frustration clear but says nothing more. Tarak grumbles under his breath, but the weight of Doran's authority keeps him in check. Back in town, Alex's sharp eyes catch sight of Goranok with Kalek, stands before one of Rufu's lackeys, a scrawny goblin with a crooked grin. Goranok holds a bundle of herbs, his thick fingers tightening around it as he thrusts it forward. "These herbs," Goranok says, his voice rough, "are the same ones I traded last time. I got 5 gold coins for this amount. Why are you only offering 2 now?" The goblin snickers, flicking a single coin into the air before catching it and tossing it into Goranok's hands. "Old bastard, it's the order of Lord Rufu. Prices change. Be thankful I'm giving you anything." Goranok's eyes narrow, his grip tightening on the remaining herbs. 2 coins for this? That barely covers the time it takes to gather them. The goblin shrugs, leaning lazily against the wall. "Take it or leave it, old man. Complain to Lord Rufu if you've got a problem. See how far that gets you." Alex stands off to the side, silently observing. His arms are crossed, and a faint smirk plays on his lips. He knows his soldiers well, they won't let this insult slide. Kulik, cloaked in a heavy robe to conceal his true form, shifts slightly. "Hey, little goblin," Kulik says, his tone almost mocking, "you should hand over 5 gold coins now, before I pluck your head from your body." The goblin stiffens, his eyes narrowing. "What did you just say, you robed freak?" He steps forward, his hand reaching for Kulik's hood. "Let's see who you think you are." Before the goblin can finish, his head suddenly detaches from his shoulders, rolling to the ground with a dull thud. Blood spurts from his neck, and his body collapses moments later. The silence is deafening. No one even saw Kulik move. What just happened?" One of the onlookers mutters, his voice trembling. A murmuring wave spreads through the gathered monsters, their voices low and filled with fear. "No way," a lizardman whispers, his eyes wide. "Someone's challenging Lord Rafu? It's been years since anyone dared to oppose him." Another monster, a wolfkin, growls nervously. "Whoever this robed figure is, he's insane. No one defies Rafu and lives to tell about it." The tension thickens as 2 guards, clad in mismatched armor and wielding crude axes, push through the crowd. Their snarling faces betray their eagerness for bloodshed. "Step aside." One barks, his voice guttural. "By order of Lord Rafu, anyone who causes trouble dies where they stand." Kulik turns his head slightly toward the approaching gnolls, his movements slow and deliberate. Beneath his hood, his glowing eyes glint ominously. The gnolls charge without hesitation, their axes raised. But before they can even get within striking distance, their bodies jerk violently. In an instant, their heads separate from their shoulders, blood spraying in wide arcs. The crowd gasps in shock as the lifeless bodies hit the ground, their weapons clattering uselessly beside them. A heavy silence falls, broken only by the faint rustle of Kulik's robe as he adjusts his stance. Suddenly, a loud, guttural roar echoes through the air, and the ground trembles beneath their feet. From the direction of the fortress, a towering figure emerges, his crimson eyes blazing with fury. It's Lord Rafu. His massive frame is clad in spiked armor, his orcish features twisted in a snarl of pure rage. Behind him, more guards scramble to keep up, their weapons drawn. Chapter 11, Taking Over the Town. It's Rafu. His massive frame is clad in spiked armor, his orcish features twisted in a snarl of pure rage. Behind him, more guards scramble to keep up, their weapons drawn. Rafu's deep voice booms across the square. "Who dares spill blood in my domain?" Kulik takes a step forward. His eyes gleam like twin flames beneath the shadow of his hood. As he prepares to wipe out every guard, a calm voice echoes in his mind, halting him mid-stride. "Don't kill the guards," Alex's voice resonates. "Just Rafu." Kulik's lips curl into a grin. "As you wish, Your Majesty," he replies silently. In a blur of motion, Kulik dashes toward Rafu. His speed is unnatural, almost like a ghost cutting through the air. Rafu barely has time to widen his eyes in shock before Kulik is upon him. The Orc Lord raises his massive war axe, but it's futile. At his level, barely 80, he might as well be standing still against the overwhelming force of a level 200 warrior. Kulik's blade flashes, slicing through the air with precision and speed that defies comprehension. Rafu's axe never even meets its target. Instead, the Orc Lord stumbles back, his armor splitting cleanly down the center. A thin line of blood appears across his chest, and for a brief moment, he looks down in disbelief. "No." Rafu growls, his voice faltering. "This can't." The Orc Lord collapses to his knees, his body trembling. Kulik steps closer, his blade resting lightly against Rafu's throat. With a swift motion, Kulik's sword flashes again, and Rafu's head topples from his shoulders, rolling to a stop near the base of his fortress. His body slumps forward, lifeless. The crowd is frozen, too terrified to move or speak. Rafu, the once mighty ruler of the monster town, is dead in mere seconds. Kulik steps forward. Slowly, he reaches up and pulls back his hood, revealing his face to the crowd. Gasps ripple through the assembled monsters as his true form is revealed, grayish-green skin, sharp features, and glowing crimson eyes. The unmistakable aura of power radiates from him. "A hobgoblin." A trembling lizardman mutters, his voice barely audible. "It's impossible," another monster whispers, his eyes wide with fear. "No goblin has evolved into a hobgoblin in 1,000 years." The crowd is stunned, some stepping back instinctively. Stories of the last hobgoblin who terrorized the land centuries ago flood their minds, a creature so powerful it nearly brought the great city of Misorn to its knees. Kulik surveys them, his gaze cold and unyielding. "Starting today," he declares, his voice cutting through the silence like a blade, "I am the new lord of this town. Under my rule, there will be order." The monsters exchange nervous glances, but none dare to challenge him. The memory of Rafu's swift death and the legends of hobgoblins are more than enough to silence any dissent. One of the bolder monsters, a hulking ogre, takes a hesitant step forward, his voice shaking. Lord. What will you have us do? Follow my orders, Kulik replies sharply. This town will no longer operate on fear and greed. Those who work hard will prosper. The crowd murmurs in uncertainty but nods reluctantly, their instincts for survival overriding any thoughts of rebellion. In his mind, Kulik hears Alex's calm voice again. In his mind, Kulik hears Alex's calm voice again. Good. You've done well, Kulik. Now, don't trade the gold coins anymore. Reform this town. Make it a proper place, where trade thrives fairly, and gold coins flow steadily. Kulik lowers his head slightly, as if bowing to an unseen presence. Yes, Your Majesty, he responds silently. I will carry out your will. He straightens, addressing the crowd once more. You will follow me, or you will fall. Those who wish to rebuild and thrive, stay. Those who seek chaos and ruin, leave now. The monsters stand in silence, their fear gradually giving way to reluctant acceptance. Kulik's crimson eyes burn brightly as he turns toward Rafu's fortress, his voice carrying an unshakable authority. This town will be reborn, starting now. Alex is back in the capital city. Alex reclines in a luxurious bathhouse within the palace. Steam rises lazily from the clear, warm water, filling the grand marble room with a comforting haze. The polished stone walls are adorned with golden engravings, and a gentle cascade of water flows from an ornate fountain into the bath. Alex sighs contentedly, leaning back against the edge of the pool. His body sinks deeper into the water, the heat easing away any tension. This is the life, he murmurs to himself, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. Beyond the heavy wooden doors, his maids wait silently, ready to attend to any request. But for now, Alex relishes the solitude. His voice echoes faintly in the spacious room as he speaks aloud to himself. It's good that I'll have gold coins flowing in soon, even if it's just a little for now. A steady stream is all I need to get started. His hand idly swirls the water, his expression thoughtful. Kulik has done well. That town. It will thrive under his rule. And as it grows, the coins will accumulate. Slowly but surely, I will revive all my subordinates. Alex leans back against the edge of the bath, letting the warm water soothe him. His thoughts drift for a moment, a mix of plans for the future and the satisfaction of his small but steady progress. After a few more minutes, a soft knock at the door pulls him from his reverie. Your Majesty, may we enter? A melodic voice calls from the other side. Alex stiffens slightly, glancing at the heavy doors. He had known this moment would come, but he still feels his face heat up. Taking a deep breath, he forces himself to sit upright, trying to project the regal demeanor expected of a king. Enter, he calls, his voice steady, though his heart beats faster than he'd like to admit. Chapter 12, Training Area. The doors open, and the maids step in. They are exactly as he remembers them from the game, cute monster girls with striking features. One has long, silky hair and fox-like ears that twitch as she moves, while the other has bright scales along her arms, glinting like jewels under the soft light of the room. Both wear elegant maid uniforms tailored to their unique forms, their expressions warm but professional. Alex averts his gaze. I really did pick the cutest ones, he thinks, berating his past self for prioritizing aesthetics over practicality when assigning roles in the game. The fox-eared maid steps forward, her tail swishing slightly behind her. Your Majesty, we've brought fresh towels and your robes. Do you require any additional assistance? No, that's fine, Alex says quickly, waving a hand. After the maids leave, Alex takes a moment to collect himself before heading to his bedroom. The grand hallways of the palace are quiet, the faint glow of enchanted torches lining the walls casting a serene light. As he approaches his bedroom, he notices Drya standing by the door, her expression serious. Drya inclines her head slightly as he draws near. Her blue eyes hold a sharp focus. Your Majesty, did you enjoy the service of your favorite maids this evening? Alex stops in his tracks, blinking at her. Favorite maids? When did I have favorite maids? As I recall, Your Majesty, you have often been attentive to those too. I couldn't help but notice the way you frequently stared at them. Her words hit Alex like a bolt of lightning. The realization dawns on him, it must have been back in the game. When I didn't have anything to do, I'd make my character just stare at them. Well, as a gamer, that's normal, right? Staring at sexy NPCs. Yeah, that's totally normal. Clearing his throat and forcing a regal air, Alex nods. Oh, yes, of course. I chose them for a reason. They're efficient. She places a hand over her chest and bows gracefully. As you say, Your Majesty. Alex, feeling a bit awkward, decides to shift the topic. Anyway, thank you for everything, Jiraiya. You've done an excellent job organizing the palace and ensuring things run smoothly. Jiraiya straightens and gives him a faint, proud smile. Your Majesty, you created me. It is my purpose, my duty, and my honor to serve you. I will continue to ensure all is as you desire. Alex smiles back, feeling a bit more at ease. I'm glad. Well, I'll be retiring for the night. Good work, as always, Jiraiya. Jiraiya bows once more, her voice steady. Rest well, Your Majesty. The next morning, Alex rises early, feeling energized and ready to explore more of his palace. After a light breakfast served in his quarters, he decides it's time to visit the training grounds. As he steps into the bright morning light, he notices the expansive training area bustling with activity. Soldiers practicing their skills with weapons, spells, and hand-to-hand combat. The clang of swords, the crackle of magic, and the shouts of sparring partners fill the air. Jiraiya appears at his side almost immediately, as if she anticipated his plans. Your Majesty, the training ground is at its peak activity this time of day. Shall I announce your presence? Alex shakes his head. No need. I want to observe first. It's been a while since I've seen a live training session. Alex steps forward, taking in the scene. He watches as the kobold spars with an hobgoblin, their movements surprisingly coordinated. Nearby, a group of 50 soldiers are practicing formation drills, their discipline reminding Alex of the importance of a well-trained army. Alex's initial interest in the training quickly fades as he counts the soldiers present. Only 100 remain, a fraction of what his once mighty army was. He already knew his forces had dwindled, but seeing it firsthand strikes a bitter chord. His jaw tightens as he mutters under his breath. Those two idiots. They really got me good. Jiraiya, ever observant, steps closer. Your Majesty, is something troubling you? Alex shakes his head, his voice steady despite his frustration. It's nothing. Just thinking about how far we've fallen. And how far we need to climb back up. Jiraiya tilts her head slightly, her tone measured. With your leadership, Your Majesty, even 100 soldiers can become an army to rival nations. He turns abruptly, his expression firm. I'll be in my private training area. Make sure I'm not disturbed. Jiraiya bows. As you command, Your Majesty. Alex strides through the palace halls, making his way to his private training area, a space only he can access. The entrance is concealed behind an unassuming wall, marked by a faint, glowing crest. He places his hand against the symbol, and the stone shifts, revealing a hidden staircase. The air changes as he descends, a mix of cool stone and faint magic lingering in the space. The room opens into a grand chamber, filled with advanced training equipment, enchanted dummies, and intricate magical arrays designed to push even the strongest warrior to their limits. Alex steps inside, his eyes scanning the area. It's exactly as he remembers it from the game. A slight smirk forms on his lips. At least this still works perfectly, he mutters. Walking toward the center of the room, he activates one of the training dummies, its form shifting to mimic a towering armored knight. It levels a sword at him, and Alex feels a familiar rush of adrenaline. Let's see if I know how to do this, he says, drawing his own weapon, a sleek, obsidian blade that radiates a faint crimson aura. It hums in his hand, the weight familiar yet commanding. He swings it once, testing its balance, and feels the raw power of a level 200 weapon. The training dummy adjusts instantly, its aura shifting to match his. Its level 200 designation flickers above its head, and it raises its massive sword in a defensive stance. Chapter 13, Level 200 Skills. Alex takes a deep breath, stepping into his stance. The moment feels surreal, his body moves as if it's been through years of rigorous training, yet he knows this is his first real fight. The dummy charges first, its sword slicing downward with precision. Alex sidesteps with ease, bringing his blade up to parry the next strike. The clash reverberates through the chamber, the force sending a spark of excitement through him. So, this is what it feels like, he mutters, his movements fluid as he blocks another attack. The dummy follows up with a sweeping strike, aiming for his legs. Alex jumps back, the instincts of a seasoned warrior guiding his every move. Without thinking, he lunges forward, delivering a series of quick slashes. Each strike lands cleanly, leaving glowing marks on the enchanted material of the dummy. Not bad, Alex says, grinning. For someone who technically just started. He pulls back, letting the dummy reset its stance. This time, he decides to push harder. Alex switches to offense, his blade a blur as he launches a flurry of attacks. The dummy manages to block most of them but struggles to keep up. Impressive, he says, stepping back and lowering his blade slightly. But I'm not done yet. Alex focuses, activating a level 200 skill, Blazing Edge. His sword ignites in crimson flames, the heat radiating through the room. With a powerful swing, he sends a wave of fire toward the dummy. The flames crash into it, forcing the dummy back as its form flickers from the impact. The dummy steadies itself, its defenses adjusting. Alex takes a moment to observe. Alright, let's try something stronger. He attempts to activate a skill well above his current level, one he remembers as being devastating in the game. He channels his energy, feeling the power surge through him, but nothing happens. Huh? Alex frowns, trying again. A faint glow surrounds him for a moment before dissipating entirely. A message flashes in his vision, skill locked. Level requirement not met. Of course, he mutters, shaking his head. He sighs but quickly refocuses, activating another level 200 skill, Crimson Rift. The energy crackles around his blade before exploding outward in a devastating arc. The attack slams into the dummy, splitting it cleanly in half. As the pieces of the training dummy fall to the ground, Alex lowers his blade, his breathing steady. A few days later, the transformation of the town is already underway. The once chaotic streets are now filled with the sounds of construction, hammers striking wood, stones being stacked to repair walls, and the rhythmic chants of monsters working together. Under Kolak's stern but fair leadership, order has replaced the previous lawlessness. For the first time in decades, monsters of various races, goblins, orcs, kobolds, and even ogres, are cooperating. It's an unprecedented sight, and word of the town's rebirth spreads quickly across the surrounding region. Among the workers, 2 orcs haul massive wooden beams toward what will soon be a new marketplace. Among the workers, 2 orcs haul massive wooden beams toward what will soon be a new marketplace. What do you think of the new lord? One orc grunts, adjusting his grip on the beam. The other orc, a burly figure with a scar running down his cheek, pauses for a moment, wiping sweat from his brow. He's strong, he says simply. Stronger than anyone I've ever seen. That much is obvious, the first orc replies with a chuckle. But what about his vision? Do you really think he can turn this dump into something worth staying in? The scarred orc's gaze shifts to the bustling activity around them. Goblins are laying stones for new roads, kobolds are crafting intricate wooden supports, and even a handful of ogres are helping to fortify the town's outer walls. It's a sight he never thought he'd see. I think, the second orc says slowly, if we stick with him, this town might usher in a new era. Maybe even rival Mizorn City one day. Just like in the legends. The first orc raises an eyebrow. You believe in those old stories? The ones about the hobgoblin who almost toppled the Mizorn City? The second orc smirks. I didn't before. But seeing him. Seeing how he killed Rifu like he was nothing. I think he might actually pull it off. Their conversation is interrupted as Kulak himself strides through the worksite, his imposing figure commanding immediate attention. The monsters pause briefly, bowing their heads as he passes. Get back to work, Kulak orders, his tone sharp but not unkind. The faster this town is rebuilt, the sooner we can secure trade routes and resources. Yes, Lord Kulak. The workers reply in unison, redoubling their efforts. As Kulak continues his inspection, his crimson eyes scan the progress with satisfaction. In the Mizorn City, Doran's group returns to the Mizorn City after completing their mission. The bustling market streets are alive with the hum of merchants hawking their wares, adventurers bartering for equipment, and nobles inspecting exotic goods. Lena walks alongside the group, her eyes scanning the crowd absent-mindedly until something catches her attention. She freezes mid-step, her gaze locking onto a cage on a merchant's wagon. Doran, she whispers, her voice filled with disbelief. Look over there. Doran stops, turning to follow her line of sight. Isn't that? Lena's voice falters, her eyes narrowing as she takes a closer look. The women we handed over to Rifu? Doran's brow furrows. You're right. There's no way Rifu would let them go. What the hell are they doing here? The two exchange a glance before approaching the merchant standing by the cage. Doran steps forward, his tone polite but firm. Excuse me, merchant. Those 2 women. Can I ask where you got them? The merchant tenses, his hand immediately moving to draw a cloth over the cage, obscuring the women from view. I bought them, the merchant replies curtly. They're mine now, and I don't appreciate you sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. Move along. Chapter 14, a level 100 monster. Doran doesn't budge. Instead, he crosses his arms, tilting his head slightly with a knowing smirk. Oh really? He says, his voice laced with mock curiosity. As far as I know, these 2 women are Lord Vylan's slaves. In fact, we were tasked by Lord Vylan himself to deliver them to someone. The merchant stiffens, his hands twitching nervously. Doran leans in slightly, lowering his voice just enough for the merchant to hear. I wonder why they're here now, in your possession. Should we ask Lord Vylan about it? I'm sure he'd be very interested to hear how his property ended up back in Mizorn. The mention of Vylan's name visibly shakes the merchant. His face pales, a chill running down his spine. Everyone in the city knows of violence, cruelty and paranoia. Being on his bad side is a death sentence. And no need for that, the merchant stammers, his voice trembling. I just found them wandering outside the city gates. No owners in sight. So, as a merchant, I had to pick them up. That's all. Doran raises an eyebrow, his expression skeptical. Is that so? Yes. The merchant says quickly, his desperation evident. I didn't know they were connected to Lord Violen. Please, take them. I don't want any trouble. Doran steps back, giving the merchant a long, cold stare before nodding. Smart choice. The merchant hurriedly unlocks the cage, motioning for the women to step out. They hesitate, but with Doran's reassuring nod, they climb down. You're lucky I'm in a good mood, Doran says, his tone sharp. But if I ever see you with Lord Violen's property again, I won't be so forgiving. The merchant bows repeatedly, his voice shaking. Thank you, sir. I promise it won't happen again. Doran turns to Lena and the rest of the group, gesturing for them to follow. Let's go. As they walk away, Lena leans in and whispers, that was intense. Do you think he actually believed you? Doran smirks. Doesn't matter. Violen's name is enough to scare anyone straight. The two women glance nervously at their saviors but remain silent. Their expressions a mix of fear and gratitude. Lena sighs softly. What do we do now? We'll figure it out, Doran replies, his gaze fixed ahead. But for now, we keep moving. Missorn's a dangerous place, especially for them. The group disappears into the bustling crowd, leaving the shaken merchant behind. Later, the group secures a quiet room at an inn near the edge of Missorn City. Doran instructs the other three members to leave, leaving only him, Lena, and the two rescued women in the room. The room is simple but clean, with a wooden table in the center and a few chairs. The women sit close together, still tense and wary. Lena moves first, grabbing a loaf of bread and some dried meat from her pack. You should eat something, Lena says softly, placing the food in front of them. The women hesitate, exchanging a glance before cautiously reaching for the bread. They eat slowly, their movements careful as if expecting the offer to be taken away. Doran leans against the wall, arms crossed, watching them silently. Lena pulls up a chair and sits across from the women, her expression kind but curious. What are your names? Lena asks gently. The first woman, a slender figure with tangled blonde hair and bruises on her wrists, looks up hesitantly. My name is Syria, she says in a voice barely above a whisper. The second woman, taller and with sharp green eyes that contrast her haggard appearance, speaks more firmly. I'm Mari. As the silence stretches in the room, Lena clears her throat, breaking the tension. Her voice is soft, almost hesitant. I know you probably hate us for what we did. Handing you over to those monsters. Mari shakes her head, her green eyes meeting Lena's. We don't, she says firmly. Though. We were hoping, praying, that someone would save us. When you left, we thought it was the end for us. The things we've heard about orcs. She trails off, her voice trembling. They say being captured by them is like living in hell. Lena winces, guilt flickering across her face. What kind of slaves were you? Lena asks, changing the subject slightly, though her voice is tinged with sadness. Syria speaks this time, her voice quiet and hesitant. We worked in the mines. It was exhausting. Day and night, no rest. They didn't care if we were sick or hurt. Doran, who has been silent, finally steps forward. His voice is low but direct. How did you manage to flee from that monster? Mari's jaw tightens, and she glances at Syria before responding. We didn't flee, Mari says, her tone flat. That orc. He died. The air in the room seems to still, and both Doran and Lena stare at Mari in shock. He died? Doran repeats, his voice sharp with disbelief. Syria nods slowly, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and memory. It was chaos, Mari continues, her tone steady but her expression dark. He got into a fight with someone, another monster. I don't know who or what it was, but they killed him. Slice him apart like he was nothing. We were chained nearby, but when the orc went down, we saw a chance and took it. We broke free and ran. Lena leans forward, her brows furrowed in concern. Do you know who or what killed him? Could it have been another orc? Mari shakes her head. I don't think so. Whatever it was. It moved too fast, faster than any orc. And it's wearing a robe, so we can't even tell what it looks like. Doran exhales deeply, his eyes narrowing as he processes the information. Something strong enough to take out a level 80 orc. Doran's thoughts race as he leans against the wall, arms crossed. A level 100 monster? The only creatures capable of taking down a level 80 orc easily would be level 100 or higher. Chapter 15, Special book. His gaze shifts back to Mari and Syria, who are both visibly shaken, though their relief at being away from that monster is evident. Lena breaks the silence, her voice low but curious. Doran, what are you thinking? Do you think it could have been a level 100 monster? Doran doesn't answer immediately, his expression unreadable. Finally, he says, it's possible. Something that can move faster than an orc and slice through one like it's nothing isn't ordinary. If it was level 100 or higher, that explains the speed and power. Lena's face pales at his words. She leans forward, gripping the edge of the table. If this is true, isn't this really bad? The last time a level 100 plus monster emerged, the city almost got destroyed. If another city hadn't sent someone strong enough to kill it, who knows what would have happened? Doran nods slowly, his eyes narrowing. I've heard stories about that. A hobgoblin, wasn't it? An evolved form of a regular goblin. They said it tore through the city like a storm, faster and smarter than anyone expected. Mari and Syria exchange uneasy glances, the tension in the room thickening. What if that thing, whatever killed the orc, is even worse than the hobgoblin? Lena asks, her voice trembling. Lena sighs, running a hand through her hair. Then staying here in Missorn is a death sentence. It's only a matter of time before it causes havoc. We need to decide what to do, and fast. Missorn isn't equipped to handle something that powerful. If we stay, we're putting ourselves at risk. Syria hesitates. Can we come in with you? Doran looks at Syria, his expression softening as he leans against the wall. He crosses his arms, his voice calm but resolute. Of course. We can't leave you here, he says firmly. After all, what happened to you is our fault. Mari's eyes widen in surprise. Your fault? You didn't enslave us. You didn't, Doran interrupts her with a shake of his head. We handed you over to that monster, even if it was temporary. Whatever happened after that, we have to take some responsibility. Leaving you here would make us no better than him. Syria's hands tremble slightly as she clutches the edge of her chair. Thank you, she whispers, her voice filled with gratitude. We didn't expect this. We thought we were on our own. Mari exhales, her composure faltering for the first time. I don't know how we can repay you, but we'll do whatever we can to help. Alex steps back, wiping the sweat from his brow. The training room is quiet now, save for the faint hum of dissipating energy. He sheaths his blade, glancing at the glowing marks left on the floor from his final strike. Not bad, he says to himself, a small smile tugging at his lips. He takes a moment to gather his thoughts before deciding on his next move. The system's integration feature was clear. To bring monsters into his fold and make them part of his kingdom, they needed to willingly write their names in the special book bound to the system. And for that, he'd need Gluck's help. Time to head back to the town, Alex mutters, stepping out of the training room. After a few minutes of walking, Alex arrives at the town, his royal guard, a lizardman in disguise as a regular monster, following closely behind. The transformation before him takes him by surprise. In just a few days, the once chaotic settlement had turned into a thriving hub of activity. The streets were cleaner, the buildings sturdier, and the monsters more organized than he'd ever seen before. Alex mutters under his breath. In just a few days, they really made this place better. Soon, they reached the modest but well-kept building where Kulik resides. Alex had contacted him earlier through a communication item since the system's telepathy didn't work over long distances. When Kulik learned of Alex's impending arrival, he insisted on preparing a grand welcome, but Alex rejected the idea. As Alex approaches the building, he sees Kulik waiting outside. True to form, Kulik kneels as soon as Alex steps within view. Welcome, Your Majesty, Kulik says, his deep voice carrying respect and a touch of pride. Do you have any orders for me? Alex steps forward, raising a hand. Rise, Kulik. There's no need for formalities right now. Let's talk inside. Kulik nods, rising to his full height, and gestures for Alex to follow him inside. Inside, Kulik pulls out a chair for Alex before taking a seat across from him, his crimson eyes gleaming with anticipation. What brings you here, Your Majesty? Alex pulls out a neatly folded piece of paper and places it on the table. I need your help with this, he says, pushing the book toward Kulik. Alex sits across from Kulik, the book resting on the table between them. He looks at the hobgoblin, his expression serious yet calm. Kulik, I need you to make sure that every monster in the town writes their name on this book. It's part of becoming a real, permanent citizen of the town. Without this, they won't be considered part of my kingdom. Kulik said, It's easy enough, Your Majesty. I can gather them and get this done. But, is there anything else you need me to do while I'm at it? Alex shakes his head, his voice steady. No, that's all. Just get them to write their names, and the process will be complete. I'll be waiting here when you return. Kulik's heart swells with excitement. As a regular guard, he never imagined he would have the chance to speak directly with His Majesty. In the game, anyone who was part of Alex's kingdom viewed him as a god, a being of immense power. And now, here in the real world, nothing has changed. To be trusted with such an important task, it feels like a dream come true for Kulik. Alex watches as Kulik exits, filled with determination. For Kulik, it's a day he'll never forget, a day he's no longer just a guard. Chapter 16, The Three Kingdoms. A few minutes later, the door opens, and Kulik strides back in, his chest puffed with pride. His crimson eyes gleam with excitement as he holds the book close to his chest. It's done, Your Majesty, Kulik announces, standing straight. 300 monsters have written their names in the book. Alex said. 300 already? That's a good turnout. You've done well, Kulik. Kulik bows deeply, his voice steady but filled with gratitude. Thank you, Your Majesty. It's an honor to serve you. Alex stands and walks over to him, taking the book for a moment to inspect it. The system's interface overlays the names, marking them as officially registered citizens. He smiles faintly, satisfied with the progress. Well done, Alex says, handing the book back. I'll leave this with you. If anyone else decides to write their name, let them. The more citizens we have, the stronger the kingdom will become. Kulik grips the book tightly, nodding with determination. Understood, Your Majesty. I won't let you down. I know you won't, Alex replies. He places a reassuring hand on Kulik's shoulder before turning to leave. I'll return to the palace. Keep up the good work. Yes, Your Majesty. Kulik says, watching in awe as Alex departs. Back at the palace, Alex sits on his throne in the grand yet quiet throne room. His eyes flicker as he pulls up his status screen, the glowing interface only visible to him. The numbers bring a small smile to his face. Citizen count, 400 next level unlock, need 500 citizens current level, 200 just 100 more, he mutters, leaning back. And I'll reach level 300. Still a long way to go to max out at 1000, but progress is progress. He closes the screen, resting his chin on his hand. It's a slow process, but seeing the numbers grow, it's worth it. As Alex studies his status screen, the faintest ripple of movement in the shadows of the throne room catches his attention. A figure emerges, cloaked in darkness, their presence silent but commanding. One of the shadows kneels before him. Your Majesty, the figure says, their voice low and steady. I am here to report. Alex leans forward on his throne. Go ahead. The shadow doesn't lift their head as they begin. After your orders to tail the humans, Your Majesty, we followed their trail to a city not far from the forest. The city is called Misorn, and it is governed by a corrupt noble named Violin. Alex's gaze sharpens slightly at the mention of the name. Violin? What do you mean by corrupt? The shadow nods slightly. Reports from the city's residents indicate he exploits his position for personal gain. He levies heavy taxes on the populace, hoards resources meant for the city's defense, and turns a blind eye to criminal activities in exchange for bribes. Many in Misorn despise him, but his authority remains unchallenged due to his ties to the kingdom. Alex rests his chin on his hand, deep in thought. And this kingdom? What did you learn about it? The shadow hesitates for a moment before continuing. The city of Misorn is part of the kingdom of Ralthaon. Ralthaon is currently stable, but its borders are vulnerable. They rely heavily on smaller cities like Misorn to act as buffer zones. However, with someone like Violin in charge, Misorn's defenses are inadequate at best. The shadow shifts slightly, reaching into their cloak. There's more, Your Majesty. We recovered this. They present a worn but detailed map, carefully folded. It appears to be a map of the region. It may provide useful insights. Alex takes the map and unfolds it, studying it intently. His sharp eyes scan every detail, noting the locations of cities, borders, and marked landmarks. After a few moments, he leans back. There are 3 kingdoms shown on this map, he says, pointing to the territories. Ralthaon here, the kingdom of Ordia to the west, and the kingdom of Volgros to the north. The shadow nods. Yes, Your Majesty. Ordia appears to be a merchant kingdom, known for trade and wealth. Volgros, however, is described as a militaristic state with strong fortifications and a focus on conquest. Alex taps the map thoughtfully. This can't be the whole map of this world. The borders feel incomplete, as if there's more beyond these kingdoms. But it's a start. He folds the map neatly and hands it back to the shadow. Take this with you and continue gathering intelligence. I want to know more about Ordia and Volgros, their rulers, their strengths, their weaknesses. Leave no detail unnoticed. The shadow bows deeply. As you command, Your Majesty. The shadow vanishes back into the darkness, leaving Alex alone in the throne room. He leans back in his seat, tapping his fingers on the armrest as he processes the information. After a moment, he lets out a low hum. He pauses, his thoughts shifting. I guess I should visit that guy in the dungeon. Alex rises from his throne, his expression sharpening with determination. His mind drifts to the powerful subordinate who has remained in confinement since their arrival in this world, a being more terrifying than any of the 5 lords under his command. I hope he's still there, Alex mutters to himself as he strides down the grand hall of his palace. The world boss itself. The one I obtained after that chaotic raid. He recalls the event vividly, 5 million players swarming to defeat the monstrous entity, and only 20 lucky individuals managing to claim him as a drop. Alex was among them. Even now, the thought fills him with a sense of pride. This subordinate is stronger than any of the 5 lords, Alex muses, his steps echoing in the empty halls. Even with the Hellfire Edge, I'd only have a 50% chance of beating him in a one-on-one fight, Alex mutters under his breath. His steps slow as he approaches the enormous door leading to the dungeon. It towers over him, carved with intricate runes that pulse faintly with a blood-red glow. Chapter 17, Kale. For the air around it is heavy, oppressive, as though the door itself resents being opened. 2 gargoyle-like creatures stand motionless on either side, their glowing eyes fixed forward, waiting for a command. Alex places his hand on the door, and the runes flare brighter, recognizing their master. With a low rumble, the door begins to part, revealing a swirling crimson vortex that serves as the entrance to the dungeon. As he passes through the vortex, the scene changes entirely. The air grows dry and thick with heat, the ground beneath his feet rough and cracked like dried blood. The sky above is a haunting red, dominated by a massive, unblinking eyeball that hovers like a moon, its gaze fixed upon everything at once. It never gets less unsettling, Alex mutters, his eyes narrowing at the grotesque moon-like eyeball. It seems to pulse faintly, almost as if acknowledging his arrival. Even the sky here feels like it's watching. Ahead lies a massive fortress-like structure carved from blackened stone. Its spires twist unnaturally toward the crimson sky, and at its base stands another enormous door, this one covered in pulsating veins of dark energy. Alex strides toward it without hesitation, his boots crunching against the brittle ground. When he reaches the door, it responds to his presence, the veins retracting and the stone parting with an ear-splitting groan. Beyond the door is a massive chamber, illuminated by an eerie red light. But instead of the ominous dungeon you would expect, the scene inside is startlingly different. The chamber is a lavish, almost surreal in its opulence. Plush crimson carpets cover the ground, and ornate black and gold furnishings line the walls. Chandeliers made of glowing red crystals hang from the high ceiling, casting a soft, otherworldly glow over everything. The air is filled with the faint scent of incense, rich and intoxicating. At the center of the room is an enormous, canopied bed draped in dark silks. Lounging lazily on the bed is a strikingly handsome humanoid man with long, flowing black hair that shimmers faintly like scales in the light. His eyes are a piercing gold, slitted like a predator's, and his smile is sharp and knowing. This is Kael'thar, Alex's most powerful subordinate, an ancient evil dragon currently taking his humanoid form. 2 humanoid monster maids attend to him, one feeding him grapes while the other pours crimson wine into a crystal goblet. Both are impeccably dressed in maid outfits that somehow manage to blend elegance and menace, their demonic features softened but still visible, horns curling gracefully and tails swishing idly behind them. As Alex steps deeper into the room, Kael'thar's posture shifts immediately. He rises from the bed with a fluid motion, his gold eyes locking on to Alex's. "Your Majesty," Kael'thar says, his voice filled with deep respect, almost exaggerated in its formality. He kneels before Alex, lowering his head with a dramatic flourish. "You honor me with your presence." Alex stops in his tracks, his brow furrowing slightly. He crosses his arms, watching Kael'thar with an unamused expression. "Why are you acting like you didn't sense my presence the moment I stepped into your dungeon?" he asks flatly. Kael'thar freezes, a sheepish smile tugging at his lips. His gaze flickers for a brief moment, and he straightens up, looking slightly embarrassed. "Ah, well. You see, Your Majesty, I was preoccupied," he says, his tone a bit awkward. Alex doesn't respond immediately, merely observing the dragon's discomfort. There's no real anger in his gaze. Kael'thar's willful personality is something Alex is well aware of, as it aligns perfectly with his in-game character traits. Kael'thar has always been fiercely loyal, but his lack of concern for the world and his own freedom often leads to moments like this. "It's fine," Alex says after a moment, shrugging off the slight disruption. Kael'thar lets out a small, relieved chuckle, but there's no mistaking the genuine respect he holds for Alex. He stands fully now, his imposing form towering over the smaller figure of his master. His golden eyes are filled with admiration, yet they also have that same detached look, like he doesn't much care for the world outside of Alex's influence. Alex tilts his head slightly, eyeing Kael'thas as he asks, "Do you still can't get out of the city? Even in this new world?" Kael'thas' expression shifts, a subtle frustration clouding his usually calm demeanor. "I still can't," he confirms, his tone measured but tinged with resignation. "I tried, when you were still asleep. I thought maybe if I flew high enough, I could break through it. But no. An invisible barrier stops me every time, like it always has. It's frustrating, but..." He pauses, his lips curling into a half-smile. "I've grown used to it." "Well," Alex says aloud, "it's not like I ever relied on you for invasions. Defending the city suits you better." Kael'thas grins, his sharp teeth glinting faintly. "Defending is far less tedious," he says, his tone light. "Why would I want to leave this city anyway? Everything I need is here. Good wine, loyal servants, and," he gestures lazily around the room, "this cozy little palace of mine." Alex smirks at Kael'thas' nonchalance, shaking his head slightly. "I guess I should thank the devs for making this guy like this," he thinks. Fiercely loyal yet entirely content within his boundaries, Kael'thas' personality, no matter how carefree, is perfect for his role. He stays for a few more minutes, exchanging casual remarks with the dragon, who seems in no hurry to see him go. When Alex finally rises to leave, Kael'thas gives him a playful bow. "Don't stay away too long, Your Majesty," Kael'thas says, his golden eyes glinting with mirth. "The capital can get rather dull without you." "I'll manage," Alex replies dryly before stepping back through the massive door. But instead of heading to his throne room or office, Alex veers toward the palace gates. The guards bow as he passes, their gazes filled with respect, but Alex waves them off before they can speak. He walks past the towering walls of the city, as he exits the capital alone. Chapter 18, Found a cave. The air is cool and fresh, carrying the earthy scent of the surrounding wilderness. Outside the city, the landscape stretches into a vast expanse of trees and mountains, untouched and tranquil. Alex pauses to take in the scenery. "Just trees and mountains as far as the eye can see," he murmurs. He opens his inventory, scrolling through his arsenal of items. His gaze lands on a pair of shimmering black wings with intricate silver etchings, an item he hadn't used in ages. Equipping them, he feels a faint hum of energy as the wings materialize on his back. With a few experimental flaps, he takes to the sky, albeit slowly. "Guess it's a good thing I didn't scrap these," he says to himself, chuckling. "The best decision of my life to hold on to all those useless items." The wings feel different now, less of a luxury and more of a necessity. His level is locked, preventing him from using his natural ability to fly, but the items in his arsenal, once mere trophies of past exploits, are now invaluable tools in this new reality. As he soars over the forest, the morning light filters through the dense canopy below, casting shifting patterns of gold and green. The wind rushes past him, cool and invigorating. For a moment, he allows himself to enjoy the freedom of flight, the capital shrinking in the distance behind him. After a while, something catches his eye, a dark opening nestled in the side of a rocky mountain. A cave. He hovers above it, tilting his head in curiosity. "It'd be good if this is a mine or something," he muses aloud, descending toward the entrance. Landing softly on the rocky ground, Alex folds the wings back into his inventory. The cave's mouth looms before him, dark and uninviting. A faint draft carries the scent of damp stone and minerals, confirming that it does lead deeper underground. Alex stands at the entrance of the cave, staring into its shadowy depths. He crosses his arms, tapping a finger against his elbow as he thinks. "Should I go in?" he mutters, his voice echoing faintly against the rocky walls. The cool breeze from the cave brushes past him, carrying with it the faint promise of something unknown. He smirks, his crimson eyes gleaming in the dim morning light. "I'm prepared enough," he decides. "Even if there's a level 800 waiting in there, I can retreat without a scratch." His confidence isn't unfounded. Years of experience as both an adventurer and a king have sharpened his instincts. Alex takes a step forward, then pauses. A flicker of excitement rises within him, and he can't help but laugh quietly to himself. "This feels just like the old days," he murmurs. "Back when I was just a wandering adventurer. Grinding levels, exploring caves, finding treasures. All before I can build a kingdom." The memory is oddly comforting, and for the first time in a while, Alex feels a genuine thrill, being out here, in the wild, facing the unknown. It feels raw, unpredictable. And he likes it. Alex steps into the cave, his boots crunching softly against the uneven ground. The faint glow of his orb illuminates only a small radius around him, leaving most of the cavern shrouded in darkness. He pauses, opening his inventory and scrolling through the countless items he's amassed over his adventures. "Where is it?" he mutters, his eyes scanning quickly. "Ah, there you are." He selects an item, A small, unassuming crystal orb with intricate carvings. The moment he activates it, the orb floats out of his hand and hovers above his head. It emits a brilliant, golden light that floods the cave, banishing the shadows and making the surroundings as bright as daytime. Much better, he says with a satisfied nod, taking a moment to admire the illuminated cavern. Streaks of minerals glint in the light, and the rough, jagged walls take on an almost otherworldly beauty. He presses onward, his steps steady and deliberate. The silence is almost unnerving, no creatures stir, no sounds echo back except the soft scuff of his boots. Not a single enemy, Alex remarks under his breath. The cave widens as he continues, and soon, he finds himself standing at the entrance to a massive chamber. His eyes widen slightly as he takes in the sight. The walls are lined with gleaming veins of minerals, gold, silver, and even rarer metals he can't immediately identify. The floor is uneven but glittering with fragments of gems scattered like shards of glass. Is this all minerals? He says aloud, his voice echoing faintly in the vast chamber. He steps closer to one of the walls, running his fingers along a vein of gold embedded in the rock. This could be worth a fortune, he mutters, his lips curling into a small, incredulous smile. If I had found a place like this back in the game, it would have been an absolute jackpot. Alex turns, letting his gaze sweep over the chamber again. So much potential, he muses. I could turn this into a mine for the city. The resources here would be invaluable. Suddenly, a rushing sound fills the air, echoing through the chamber like a distant waterfall. Alex freezes, his hand instinctively going to the hilt of his sword. The sound grows louder, accompanied by faint skittering noises that seem to come from every direction. What the? He mutters, his crimson eyes scanning the room. Then he sees it, a pile of monster bones tucked into a corner, partially hidden behind a cluster of jagged rocks. His eyes narrow. Figures, he mutters. This place was too perfect to be unguarded. Before he can inspect further, the skittering becomes a cacophony. From the dark holes lining the walls and ceiling, spider-like beasts begin to pour out. Their black, chitinous bodies glint in the light of his floating orb, and their glowing red eyes lock onto him. 1, 2, 10. No, at least 100 of them. Really? Alex says, raising an eyebrow as he pulls up the system interface. He glances at their levels, around 50. Chapter 19, Arachnia grin spreads across his face. Level 50? That's it? 100 level 50s might look intimidating, but against me? He shakes his head, drawing his sword with a smooth, deliberate motion. Even if there were 1,000 of you, it wouldn't matter, he says, his voice calm and confident. But I'll admit, it's been a while since I had a proper warm-up. Alex takes a deep breath and activates his first Tier 2 skill, Iron Vanguard. A faint silver aura surrounds him, hardening his muscles and skin. His body feels like a fortress, unyielding and indomitable. Let's start with a solid defense. Can't have you scratching my skin. The spiders screech, their limbs clattering against the stone as they charge toward him. Next, Raging Force, Alex mutters, activating the second skill. A rush of power courses through him, doubling his physical strength. His grip tightens on his sword, the weapon feeling lighter in his hands. The swarm closes in, but Alex remains calm, activating his third skill, Blinding Reflexes. His vision sharpens, and time seems to slow around him. The erratic movements of the spider monsters are now predictable, their every lunge and twitch easily tracked. A spider leaps from the ceiling, aiming straight for his back. Without even looking, Alex pivots and slices it in half midair. One down. As more of them close in, he activates his fourth skill, Endless Stamina. A wave of energy floods his body, erasing any sense of fatigue. The final skill, Titan's Grip, comes next. His sword glows faintly, and he feels its weight increase, matching his enhanced strength. Each swing now carries devastating power, capable of cleaving through multiple enemies in a single strike. The first wave of spiders reaches him, and Alex moves. His sword becomes a blur as he slices through the horde with precision and efficiency. Chitin shatters, and monsters screech as they fall, their black blood splattering the chamber floor. A spider lunges for his legs, but Alex sidesteps and brings his blade down, splitting it cleanly in two. Another tries to flank him, but with his reflexes heightened, he spins and decapitates it in one fluid motion. Damn, this is nice, he said. Though it's my first time killing something, I didn't feel anything at all. The monsters press harder, swarming from all sides. Alex leaps into the air, avoiding a coordinated attack, and slams back down with enough force to send a shockwave rippling through the ground. Several spiders are thrown back, their legs snapping under the impact. As the horde begins to thin, Alex stands tall, his aura still shimmering around him. His breathing is steady, his movements unrelenting. The last spider hesitates, its red eyes flickering as if debating whether to attack. Alex points his blade at it. Go ahead. Don't be shy. The spider screeches and charges, but Alex doesn't let it get close. With a single swing, he bisects it, the creature collapsing in a heap. The cavern falls silent, save for the distant drip of water and the faint hum of his buffs still active. Sheathing his sword, Alex looks around at the carnage. The floor is littered with monster remains, the once glimmering chamber now a battlefield. That was fun, he says, cracking his neck. Before Alex can savor his victory, a voice echoes through the chamber. You are strong. Who are you? I've never seen or heard of you. Are you a new monster king? Alex's hand instinctively moves to his sword hilt as his eyes dart toward the source of the voice. From above, descending gracefully on a thin, glistening thread of silk, a figure emerges. It's an arachne, a humanoid upper body of a woman with pale skin and long, silvery hair, seamlessly merging into the sleek, chitinous body of a spider. Her crimson eyes glow faintly in the dim light, and her body is covered in a sheen of minerals embedded in her carapace. Alex's eyes narrow as he opens the system interface, scanning her. Level 205, he mutters under his breath, his tension easing. Not a threat. He straightens, meeting her gaze. Yeah, I'm new, he says, his tone casual but laced with curiosity. I take it you're not too used to strangers wandering into your little domain? The arachne cocks her head, studying him with a mix of caution and intrigue. Strangers rarely survive the spiders, she replies, her voice smooth and calm. But you didn't just survive. You slaughtered them with ease. His gaze drifts to her body, noticing the shimmering minerals embedded across her limbs and torso. They're the same as the ones lining the cavern walls. A thought strikes him. By the way, have you been eating the ones in this cave? The arachne's eyes narrow slightly, but she doesn't deny it. I have. These minerals are rich in mana and energy. Consuming them allows me to evolve. To become stronger. Alex crosses his arms, his crimson eyes glinting with amusement. Stronger, huh? Seems like a waste to me. All that potential, just for a little growth? The arachne's expression darkens, her tone defensive. What would you know of my struggle? Survival in this forest demands strength. Without it, I would have been devoured long ago. Alex shrugs, his voice calm but firm. Fair enough. But I didn't come here to leave empty-handed. He gestures to the mineral-laden walls around them. This place? I've already claimed it. And I'm not about to let it be devoured by anyone else. The arachne's eyes flash with anger, her voice rising. You are a bold one to declare ownership of what is mine. She takes a step forward, her movements deliberate and sharp. If you want this place, then you must kill me first. I will avenge my children by ending your life. The arachne snarls, her crimson eyes glowing brighter. Without another word, she lunges at him, her clawed hands slashing through the air with deadly speed. Her movements are fluid, and the minerals embedded in her body shimmer with each strike, amplifying her strength and durability. Chapter 20, Nasara. Alex draws his sword in a blur, deflecting her attack with ease. The force of her strike reverberates through the cavern, sending small rocks tumbling from the walls. Not bad, he says, his tone almost playful. But you'll need more than flashy moves to touch me. The arachne doesn't respond, instead spinning a thick web to anchor herself to the ceiling. She leaps back, her hands moving rapidly as she weaves the silk into sharp, spear-like projectiles. With a flick of her wrist, she sends them hurtling toward Alex. Creative, Alex mutters, activating blinding reflexes. Time seems to slow as the spears approach. He sidesteps the first, slices through the second, and lets the third shatter harmlessly against his aura. But predictable. Before she can launch another attack, Alex closes the distance between them in a single bound. His blade arcs toward her, aiming for her exposed torso. The arachne reacts quickly, twisting her body to avoid a fatal blow. The tip of his sword grazes her chitin, leaving a deep scratch that glows faintly. The arachne screeches in pain, stumbling back as her crimson eyes lock onto Alex. Her fear is unmistakable now, her earlier confidence crumbling. In that brief exchange, she understands the terrifying gap in their power. Alex, unfazed, adjusts his grip on his sword, his expression calm but deadly. Ready for round 2? He asks, stepping forward. But before he can strike again, the arachne raises a trembling hand, her voice breaking. Wait. I admit defeat. Please. Stop. Alex halts mid-step, his sword hovering inches from his side. He blinks, confused. What? Already? We just started fighting. The arachne lowers herself cautiously, her 8 legs folding under her as she presses her humanoid upper body closer to the ground, a gesture of submission. I underestimated you, she says, her voice shaking. You're not just strong. You're overwhelming. There's no point in continuing this fight. I can't win. Alex narrows his eyes, studying her carefully, He doesn't lower his sword. So, what? You're giving up just like that? No vengeance for your kids? No desperate last stand? He tilts his head, a mocking edge creeping into his voice. That's kind of disappointing. The Arachne flinches but holds her ground. I only fought because I thought I had a chance. But now I see. You're not just another invader. You're a monster beyond anything I've encountered before. She takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. If I continue, it will only mean my death. My children. They're already gone. Fighting for revenge won't bring them back. Alex lowers his sword slightly, his crimson eyes glinting with thought. Then, an idea strikes him, and a sly grin spreads across his face. Fine, he says, his voice cutting through the silence. If you admit defeat, then prove it. He gestures toward her with the tip of his blade. Submit to me. The Arachne's crimson eyes widen in shock, her entire body going still. What? She stammers, her voice laced with disbelief. You heard me, Alex replies, his tone cold and commanding. He doesn't elaborate or try to persuade her. Instead, he crosses his arms and waits, his imposing aura filling the cavern. The Arachne stares at him, torn between her pride and her survival instinct. Her claws dig into the ground as she struggles with the decision. You want me to serve you? She asks, her voice barely above a whisper. The Arachne's gaze drops to the ground, her pride and anger warring against her fear and logic. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, she lowers herself fully, bending her humanoid upper body forward. Her arms stretch out before her, and her spider legs fold beneath her in a deep, submissive bow. I swear my loyalty to you, she says, her voice trembling but resolute. From this day forward, I will serve you, my master. Alex watches her kneel, satisfaction flickering in his crimson eyes. He steps closer, towering over her as she takes her oath. That's the greatest decision you've ever made in your life, he says, his tone both confident and final. Serve me well, and you might just live to see something greater than this cave. The Arachne looks up at him, her expression a mix of submission and lingering unease. What do you ask of me, master? A glimmer of satisfaction flickers in his eyes as he takes in the scene. Before we get to business, I should probably ask. He gestures toward her with a casual wave of his hand. What's your name? The Arachne looks up cautiously, her crimson eyes meeting his. My name is Nasara, she says softly. Nasara, huh? Alex repeats, letting the name roll off his tongue. Alright, Nasara, let's get to it. How exactly do you mine all these minerals? Nasara straightens slightly, her confidence slowly returning now that her life is no longer on the line. I have a special subordinate for that, master. They are adept at extracting the minerals efficiently. Subordinate? Alex raises an eyebrow. Show me. Nasara nods and lets out a sharp clicking sound, a signal that echoes through the cavern. Moments later, a group of spider monsters skitters out from the shadows. Unlike the aggressive ones Alex had cut down earlier, these spiders are smaller, with oddly shaped forelimbs that resemble crude but functional pickaxes. Their black, chitinous bodies glisten faintly in the light as they approach and bow slightly before Nasara. Alex stares at them for a moment, then smirks. Oh, that's convenient, he says, crossing his arms. Built-in tools? I'll admit, that's pretty efficient. Nasara nods, gesturing toward the walls. They've been trained to mine the minerals veins without waste. It is how I've sustained myself and grown stronger over the years. Good, Alex says, his smirk widening. I'll leave the mining to you and your little crew, then. But listen carefully, Nasara. He steps closer, his crimson eyes locking on to hers. There will be soldiers coming here later. They'll be guarding this place, and they are a lot stronger than you. So don't even think about doing anything funny. Got it? Chapter 21, Nasara arrive at the capital city, Part 1, Nasara nods stiffly, lowering her gaze to the ground. I understand, master. I wouldn't dare to disobey. Perfect, Alex says, his tone calm but with an edge of authority. He turns on his heel, his coat swaying as he strides toward the cave entrance. Get to work. When I return, I expect progress. Alex gives her one last lingering look, as if testing her resolve, before turning on his heel and striding out of the cavern. The sound of his footsteps fades into the distance, leaving Nasara alone with her thoughts and her spider minions. Once she's certain he's gone, Nasara lets out a low hiss, her claws digging into the ground. That's nonsense, she mutters under her breath. How can his subordinates be stronger than me? I've ruled these caves for decades. No one has ever bested me. Until him. She clicks her mandibles in irritation and glances at her spider minions, already busy chiseling away at the mineral veins. Faster. She barks, her frustration evident. We need results before his so-called soldiers arrive. The spider monsters scurry into action, their pickaxe slim striking the mineral veins with practiced precision. The cavern fills with the rhythmic clinking of metal against stone as Nasara watches, her mind racing. She's not used to taking orders, and the thought of being reduced to a mere minor grates on her. But the memory of Alex's overwhelming power keeps her in check, for now. An hour passes, and the spiders have already amassed a small pile of gold and other valuable minerals. Nasara inspects their work, her crimson eyes narrowing as she calculates how much more they'll need to satisfy Alex's demands. But just as she's about to give new orders, she feels a faint disturbance in the air. Then, suddenly, the near-invisible thread Nasara had placed at the cave's entrance vibrates faintly, signaling an intruder. Her eyes narrow, and she straightens her posture, brushing dust off her chitinous arms. "That must be the soldiers he mentioned," she murmurs, her voice low. "Let's see what kind of fools he's sent to guard me." Confident in her own strength, Nasara strides toward the entrance, her 8 legs moving with fluid grace. She prepares to greet the newcomers with the same arrogance she once wielded as the ruler of these caves. But as she rounds the corner and sees the figures standing at the entrance, her smirk fades, replaced by a deep, sinking feeling. 3 soldiers stand before her, each radiating an aura of power that makes her chitinous skin crawl. On the left is a kobold, its reptilian eyes gleaming with cunning and its lithe body coiled like a spring. On the right is its hulking frame bristling with muscle and its jagged teeth bared in a predatory grin. But it's the figure in the center that sends a shiver down Nasara's spine, a towering troglodyte, its scaly skin glistening with an unnatural sheen and its cold gaze fixed on her. Its scales shimmer faintly in the dim light, and its piercing yellow eyes seem to see straight through her. It wears armor that looks both ancient and deadly, and the aura it radiates is suffocating, a chilling reminder of the dread she felt when she first faced Alex. For a moment, Nasara can't speak. The weight of the troglodyte's presence presses down on her, and the confidence she had earlier crumbles. Even being referred to as a mere minor doesn't ignite her usual prideful anger. Instead, she bows her head slightly, her voice steady but submissive. "Yes, I am. I've already mined some gold and other resources for him." The troglodyte steps forward, its piercing gaze locking onto Nasara. "What about this?" it says in a gravelly voice, gesturing to the pile of minerals behind her. "You'd deliver this to the city yourself. His Majesty wishes to see you." Nasara blinks, startled. She hadn't expected such a request, and her mandibles twitch nervously. A question rises in her throat, but she quickly swallows it, wary of offending the intimidating creature before her. Noticing her hesitation, the troglodyte adds, "It's simple. Follow the markings on the trees outside. They'll lead you directly to the city. You won't get lost." "Understood. I'll leave immediately." The troglodyte nods curtly. "Good. Don't waste time. His Majesty doesn't like delays." Nasara gives a shallow bow, her voice quiet but steady. "I won't." Without further words, she turns and begins to organize the minerals, instructing her spider minions to bundle them efficiently. As she prepares to leave, her eyes flick briefly to the troglodyte and its companions. The gnoll smirks at her, while the kobold simply watches with sharp eyes. As soon as she's ready, Nasara gathers the minerals into a web silk pack on her back and heads toward the cave's exit. Nasara tightens her grip on the silk threads holding her pack in place. Her 8 legs carry her swiftly across the forest floor, her eyes scanning the trees for the markings the troglodyte mentioned. Each symbol is carved deep into the bark, guiding her like a silent compass. While walking, Nasara's mind is a whirlwind of thoughts. "Who is he?" she murmurs, her voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. "How can he command creatures like those 3? That troglodyte alone." It felt like facing him all over again. Her claws flex instinctively as she recalls the suffocating aura of the soldiers, each one as formidable as her, if not more so. The forest grows denser as she follows the markings, her unease deepening with every step. It doesn't take long before she reaches a clearing, and her legs falter. Nasara's eyes widen, and for a moment, she can't move. Before her stands a city, but it's unlike anything she had imagined. She expected a fledgling settlement, a hastily constructed fortress at best. Instead, towering walls rise before her, their sheer size and craftsmanship radiating an ancient, almost divine majesty. The stone gleams faintly in the sunlight, etched with intricate carvings that seem to tell stories of a civilization long past. "The wall alone," Nasara whispers, her voice trembling. "This city, it's as if it's been here for 100,000 years." Chapter 22, Meeting the Real King. A voice booms from above, startling her out of her reverie. "Who are you?" Nasara's eyes snap upward, and her breath catches. A guard stands atop the wall, clad in gleaming armor that exudes power. Even from this distance, she can feel his strength, a presence equal to her own. "Even the guards," she mutters, disbelief lacing her voice. "They're as strong as me." Swallowing her pride, Nasara straightens herself, raising her voice to be heard. I am here by the order of His Majesty, she calls out, her tone firm but respectful. I've come to deliver these minerals. There's a moment of silence, the guard scrutinizing her from his lofty perch. Then, with a low groan, a smaller gate embedded within the towering wall creaks open, revealing a narrow path leading into the city. Enter, the guard commands, his voice devoid of warmth. Nasara hesitates, her legs rooted to the ground. The enormity of what lies ahead presses down on her, but she forces herself to move. She steps through the gate, her silk pack of minerals weighing heavily on her back. As soon as Nasara steps inside, she stops in her tracks, her eyes widening in awe. The air feels different here, charged, almost sacred. The polished streets shimmer faintly, that seems both eternal and unnatural. Grand arches and towering spires surround her, their designs intricate and otherworldly, as though crafted by divine hands. It feels like. Nasara whispers, her voice trembling, I've stepped onto the land of gods. She takes a cautious step forward, her claws clicking softly against the stone pavement. But as she looks around, a strange realization dawns on her. It's quiet. Too quiet. The vast streets and majestic plazas, which she imagined would be bustling with powerful monsters, are eerily empty. Nasara furrows her brow, her earlier awe giving way to confusion. Why is the city empty? She murmurs, her voice echoing in the silence. Shaking off the unease creeping into her chest, she adjusts the weight of the minerals on her back and sets her sights on the colossal castle looming in the distance. It dominates the cityscape, its spires piercing the heavens, and its gates radiating an aura of power that dwarfs everything else around it. After what feels like an eternity, Nasara finally arrives at the castle gate. Two figures stand before it, clad in golden armor so immaculate it almost hurts to look at. Their helmets gleam under the ethereal light of the city, and the intricate patterns etched into their armor suggest both artistry and power. Nasara slows her steps, her eyes narrowing as she studies them. Unlike the guards she encountered earlier, she doesn't feel a suffocating aura emanating from these two. They're guarding the king's castle, she thinks, her mandibles twitching slightly. There's no way they're weak. If the city's normal guards are my equal, then these two. Nasara suppresses a shudder at the thought. She straightens herself and steps forward, her claws clicking softly against the stone. The guards turn their heads toward her in unison, their movements precise, almost mechanical. His Majesty is waiting for you in the throne room, one of them says, his voice deep and steady. Nasara blinks, taken aback by the lack of hostility or scrutiny. She nods stiffly. I understand, she says, trying to keep her voice steady. The second guard gestures toward the towering doors behind them. Proceed. Do not deviate from the path. For a moment, Nasara hesitates. Her instincts scream at her to ask questions, to demand why this city is so empty, why its guards are so calm, why she was summoned in the first place. But the weight of the golden figure's gazes keeps her silent. Dipping her head in acknowledgement, she steps forward, her legs carrying her toward the colossal gates. As she approaches, the doors begin to open, the sound of grinding stone reverberating through the air. Beyond the gates lies a long, gilded corridor lined with towering statues. The sheer opulence of it makes her feel small, insignificant. Nasara glances back at the guards, but they've already returned to their statuesque stillness. Swallowing her unease, she steps through the gates, the path ahead illuminated by an otherworldly glow. As Nasara walks deeper into the gilded corridor, her thoughts begin to spiral. That man. He really is a king, she murmurs, her voice barely audible in the vast, echoing hall. She tightens her grip on the silk straps of her pack. I thought he was just another powerful monster pretending to be a ruler, like so many others in the forest. But this city. Even its lowest guards are as strong as those so-called kings. Her mandibles twitch as a wry smile tugs at her lips. He wasn't lying when he said I'd gain more by serving him. I can't believe I'm even thinking this, but maybe this is the greatest decision I've ever made. She stops abruptly, her eyes widening in realization. Also, I didn't even ask for his name, she whispers, her voice tinged with embarrassment. Before she can dwell on it further, the sound of light footsteps draws her attention. Nasara glances up to see a figure approaching, a humanoid bunny with silver fur and long ears tied back neatly. She wears an elegant maid's uniform, tailored perfectly to her lithe form, and her eyes gleam with a mixture of warmth and authority. Welcome, the bunny maid says, her voice smooth and polite. She dips into a slight bow, her ears twitching gracefully. I am the head maid, and I've been instructed to guide you to His Majesty's throne room. Nasara blinks, momentarily taken aback by the maid's appearance and composure. Oh. Thank you, she stammers, regaining her posture. The maid straightens and offers a gentle smile. Though it is a bit of a walk. Please, follow me. His Majesty doesn't like to be kept waiting. The rest of the walk is silent, save for the soft clicks of Nasara's claws against the polished floor. Chapter 23, The Five Monster Lords. Shortly after, they arrive at an immense chamber. The throne room is colossal, its ceiling stretching so high that it seems to touch the heavens. Massive, intricate pillars carved with scenes of dragons and battles line the hall, their designs glowing faintly with a magical light. At the far end, a grand throne catches Nasara's eye, a masterpiece wrought in black stone and gold, its design shaped like a dragon coiled protectively around the seat. The dragon's eyes, set with fiery red gemstones, almost seem alive, radiating an intimidating aura. Seated on the throne is Alex, his piercing gaze locked onto her as if he's been waiting for her all along. His presence is overwhelming, and though he doesn't move, she feels the weight of his power pressing down on her. Nasara slows her steps, her earlier pride and defiance nowhere to be found. She kneels before him as soon as she is close enough, lowering her head. The resentment and arrogance she once felt toward him have been completely stripped away. In this moment, she only wants to earn his favor. "Your Majesty," she begins, her voice steady but laced with deference. She unfastens the silk pack from her back and places it before her. "This is all the minerals we mined. I offer them to you as promised." She doesn't dare call him master now. The enormity of his presence and the grandeur of his domain make her hesitate to address him with anything but the utmost formality. Alex's expression doesn't change, though his lips curl slightly at her change in tone. He leans forward slightly, resting his chin on his hand as he surveys the offering before him. He says, his voice calm but carrying an edge of amusement. "That's quite a lot, considering how little time has passed. You've exceeded my expectations, Nasara." Nasara glances up briefly, her crimson eyes flicking to his face before lowering again. I only did what you asked, Your Majesty. It is an honor to serve you." Alex studies her for a moment, his gaze sharp enough to cut through steel. He's not surprised by her shift in attitude, he expected it. The power and order of his city, along with a sheer disparity in strength, were enough to break even the most stubborn hearts. "Very well," Alex says, leaning back in his throne. Alex taps a finger on the armrest of his throne. "This is not the only reason I summoned you here," he says, his tone steady but laced with intrigue. Nasara straightens slightly, curiosity flickering in her crimson eyes. "What is it, Your Majesty?" "It will be my pleasure to be of use," she replies earnestly, her voice unwavering. Alex narrows his gaze slightly. "I've heard you mention there are other monsters like you in the forest. Tell me about them." Nasara nods, folding her claws neatly in front of her. "Yes, Your Majesty. There are 5 in total, including myself. Each of them claims a portion of the forest as their territory." Alex leans forward slightly, his interest piqued. "Oh? That's interesting," he muses. "Are they as strong as you?" Nasara hesitates, her mandibles twitching faintly as she thinks. "I only know for certain that at least 3 of them are as strong as me. But the other 2?" She pauses, her brow furrowing. "I don't have much of a clue about their strength." "And what about the strongest?" Alex asks, his voice calm but probing. "Surely, you must know who stands above the rest." Nasara's expression darkens slightly, a hint of unease creeping into her voice. "There is one. His name is Tolga. He is the strongest among us, or so I've heard. But I don't know much about him." Alex raises an eyebrow. "Why not? Does he not have a territory like the others?" Nasara shakes her head. "No, Your Majesty. Unlike the rest of us, who have subordinates and fixed territories, Tolga's location is always unknown. He moves through the forest like a shadow, and no one dares to challenge him." Alex leans back in his throne, he raises his right hand into the air. A faint shimmer ripples through the space above his palm, and a small rift opens, glowing with an eerie, otherworldly light. From it, he pulls out a rolled map and an elegant pen. "I want you to mark the locations of these monsters," he says. He unfurls the map, revealing a detailed layout of the forest. He tosses it toward Nasara, and it lands lightly on the ground in front of her. Nasara's eyes widen as she watches the rift vanish as quickly as it appeared. Her gaze flickers to the map and pen now lying before her, then back to Alex. She doesn't dare ask how he did it, though the question burns in her mind. Instead, she swallows her surprise and nods. "Of course, Your Majesty," she says, her voice steady despite her curiosity. Carefully, she picks up the map and a pen, unrolling the parchment to reveal its intricate details. The forest is laid out with precision, every river, clearing, and dense thicket marked. "This is my territory," she begins, drawing a small circle with the pen. To the northwest, near the cliffs, is another monster's domain. His name is Dargan. He is as strong as me and commands a swarm of rock monster. She marks the spot, then moves her finger slightly east. "Here, in the marshlands, is Veltha. She's a water serpent and controls the creatures of the swamp. She's strong, but I believe I could match her if needed. Alex watches her closely, his expression unreadable as she continues. To the south, in the Ash Plains, is Groth. He's good at fire magic, unpredictable and aggressive. I've clashed with him before, he's slightly stronger than me. Her claw tracing the map to the eastern forest. And here. This is where Thurn resides. He's a venomous beast, spider-like in appearance, and his webbing stretches across the dense trees. He is cunning, and his strength is much stronger than mine, and he relies more on ambush tactics. Chapter 24, Grixx. She moves her hand toward the center of the forest. Now, about Tolga. Nasara's voice lowers slightly. This is where it gets difficult. I've heard rumors he roams around here, but no one knows for sure. He doesn't stay in one place for long, and anyone who tries to track him either vanishes or comes back empty-handed. Nasara circles a broad area in the center of the map. This is the best I can do for him. He's like a ghost in the forest. Nasara takes a deep breath as she finishes marking the locations, her claw hovering over the map. She looks up at Alex and hands the map back to him carefully. Here, Your Majesty, she says. This is all I know. Alex takes the map, his crimson eyes scanning it briefly before rolling it up. He leans back in his throne, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. Nasara ventures hesitantly, her voice quieter now. Are you planning something? Alex glances at her, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. I am. If I want to make this forest mine, I need every creature in it to submit to me. Voluntarily or otherwise. Nasara blinks, her eyes widening slightly. You plan to conquer the entire forest? Yes, Alex replies smoothly. We'll start with the strongest. Once they fall, the others will have no choice but to yield. Nasara nods slowly, her mind racing as she imagines the scale of his plans. The thought of him subjugating monsters as strong as Tolga seems both daunting and inevitable. Alex studies her for a moment, then leans forward slightly, his tone shifting to something more casual. What about you? Have you considered living here in the city instead of that cave? Nasara's crimson eyes widen in surprise. What? Really? I could live here? Yes, Alex says with a faint smile. There are plenty of houses here, as you've no doubt noticed. You can choose any unclaimed one in the city. Nasara's gaze flickers with excitement, though she quickly tamps it down. She had seen the empty houses, especially the ones near the palace, with their grand designs and prime locations. Her mandibles twitch slightly as she tries to contain her enthusiasm. Alex notices her reaction immediately. But, he adds, raising a finger, the properties in Valyrian Heights, the noble district, are off-limits. They already have owners. Nasara's excitement dims slightly, but she nods quickly. I understand, Your Majesty. Anywhere else is more than generous. Good, Alex says, leaning back again. You can make your choice today if you wish. After Nasara leaves, Alex sits on his throne, unrolling the map she marked. His crimson eyes narrow as they settle on the territory of Thurn. The spider-like monster's domain sprawls across the dense eastern forest, marked by webbed paths and venomous traps. This guy is the second strongest of them, Alex murmurs to himself, his voice low but decisive. So, I'll start with him. He rolls the map back up. Tomorrow, then. The next day, Alex steps into his flying carriage, its sleek black frame gleaming faintly with magical energy. His trusted lizardman royal guard is already waiting inside, standing stiffly at attention. The carriage lifts off smoothly, the city falling away below them as it glides through the sky. Alex settles into his seat, gazing out at the vast expanse of forest stretching toward the horizon. After a moment of silence, he turns to the lizardman. What is your name? Alex asks. The lizardman stiffens, his golden eyes widening slightly. For a moment, he seems unsure if he heard correctly. In my name, Your Majesty? Yes, Alex replies, his tone firm but not unkind. You've served me well. I'd like to know who I'm addressing. The lizardman's chest swells with pride. Being asked his name by the king himself feels like the greatest honor. He bows his head slightly, his gravelly voice steady despite his excitement. Your Majesty, my name is Grixx. It is an honor to serve you. Alex nods. Grixx. A strong name. You've proven yourself reliable. Let's see if you can continue to meet my expectations today. Yes, Your Majesty. Grixx replies, his voice filled with determination. I will not fail you. Alex leans back in his seat, a faint smile playing at the corners of his lips. Good. We'll need your strength where we're going. The carriage soars over the trees, the dense eastern forest coming into view. The towering canopy stretches endlessly, its dark green depths hinting at the dangers lurking within. Alex's eyes flicker with anticipation as the carriage begins its descent. "Prepare yourself, Grix," Alex says, his tone calm. "We're entering Thurn's territory." Shortly after, Alex orders Grix to launch the carriage. The flying vehicle descends gracefully into the heart of Thurn's domain, where the air grows thick with a faintly shimmering, green miasma. As the carriage touches the forest floor, the surrounding area reveals itself just as Nazara had described, dense trees covered in thick, glistening webs stretching from branch to branch. The ground is hidden beneath a layer of sticky threads, and faint clicking noises echo in the distance. Alex steps out of the carriage, his crimson eyes surveying the area. The poisonous miasma hangs heavily, but he feels no effect thanks to the divine ring on his finger. Its subtle glow protects him from any toxin. He glances at Grix, who follows close behind, showing no signs of discomfort. Alex narrows his eyes slightly, his mind calculating. "So," Alex says, his voice breaking the silence, "this miasma doesn't affect you?" Grix looks at him, his golden eyes sharp. "No, Your Majesty. I feel nothing." Alex smirks faintly. "That's good to know. Your resistance confirms something for me." Grix tilts his head slightly, curious. "What is that, Your Majesty?" "This gas," Alex says, gesturing to the faint green fog surrounding them, "is potent enough to weaken lesser beings. If it doesn't faze you, then Thurn's strength is likely around level 280 or higher. Poison this concentrated wouldn't even register to someone like you unless it came from a significant threat." Chapter 25, Tier 5 Skills. As Alex and Grix tread further into the web territory, a faint sound echoes through the dense forest, clicking and skittering, growing louder with each passing second. "Something's coming," Alex says calmly, his crimson eyes darting in the direction of the noise. Moments later, a group of spider-like monsters emerges from the shadows, their glossy exoskeletons reflecting the dim green glow of the miasma. Their multiple eyes gleam with malice as they crawl closer, hissing and clicking in a symphony of aggression. Alex doesn't move, his expression remaining impassive. He gestures slightly toward Grix. "Take care of them." "Yes, Your Majesty," Grix says with a sharp nod, drawing his massive, curved blade. Though the enemies are clearly weaker than him, his movements are deliberate and exaggerated, as if putting on a show. With one powerful swing, Grix's blade cleaves through nearly half of the group in a single stroke. The force of his attack sends a gust of wind rippling through the miasma, scattering the lifeless spider monsters to the ground. He spins the blade in his claws, striking a dramatic pose before finishing off the rest of the group with equally flamboyant moves. When the last monster falls, Grix turns to Alex, his chest puffed with pride. "All enemies neutralized, Your Majesty." Alex's expression a mix of amusement and exasperation. "Hey, don't overdo it," he says, his tone sharp but laced with a faint smirk. "We don't want Thurn fleeing in fear before we even get to him." Grix straightens, a hint of embarrassment flashing across his reptilian features. "Understood, Your Majesty. I'll be more efficient next time." High above in the canopy of a massive, ancient tree, a colossal arachne male rests against the trunk, his long legs sprawled lazily. Thurn's dark carapace gleams faintly under the filtered light of the miasma. His 8 crimson eyes are shut, but the vibrations traveling up the webbed strands connecting the forest alert him. He stirs, his mandibles clicking faintly as he opens his eyes, each one scanning the thread stretched across his territory. "That's a surprise," Thurn mutters, his deep, resonant voice carrying a faint undertone of irritation. "The intruder this time killed my first line of defense so easily. Who could it be?" He stretches his long, spindly legs, cracking his joints as he considers. "Did one of the Monster Kings decide to invade me? Unlikely. The plan is about to begin, they wouldn't dare risk it now." Thurn narrows his eyes, the flicker of irritation giving way to curiosity. He clicks his mandibles and gestures toward a smaller arachne skittering nearby. "You," Thurn orders, his tone commanding. "Go and see who's causing havoc in my territory. Report back immediately. Do not engage them." The smaller arachne bows its head low, its multiple eyes reflecting fear and respect. "Yes, Lord Thurn. I will return with news." "Make haste," Thurn says, his voice growing colder. The smaller arachne scurries down the tree with practiced ease, disappearing into the dense webbing below. Thurn leans back against the trunk once more. "Interesting," he mutters to himself, his lips curling into a faint smirk. "Let's see who's bold enough to trespass into my domain." Alex and Grix walk deeper into Thurn's territory, the thick webbing covering the trees and ground becoming more oppressive. The sticky strands glisten faintly in the miasma, reflecting an eerie green light. Alex raises his hand, casting a low-tier fireball. The small orb of flame shoots forward, igniting a cluster of webs and clearing a narrow path ahead. "This guy's territory is kind of annoying," Alex mutters, flicking another fireball at a particularly dense web strung between two massive trees. The flame burns it away, leaving behind smoldering ashes. Grixis watches his king, his eyes gleaming with determination. "Your Majesty," he says, stepping forward, "do you want me to clear a path for you?" Alex pauses mid-gesture and turns to look at Grixis. The lizardman's expression is serious, his massive blade resting on his shoulder, ready to swing. Alex sighs, rubbing his temple. "I already told you," Alex says, his tone a mix of exasperation and amusement. "That's the last thing we want to do, scare Thurn away before we even see him." Grixis straightens, clearly disappointed but nods. "Understood, Your Majesty." He steps back, lowering his weapon. Alex shakes his head and continues clearing webs with small fireballs and thought. Honestly, a level 500 could just wipe this entire area clean in one tier 5 skill. But no, we have to do this the hard way. Alex glances back at Grixis, who seems to be itching to use his full strength. There's a reason level 500 is a benchmark in the world, the leap in strength is monumental. Alex thinks back to the mechanics of the game, the rules that governed his rise to power. Level 500 isn't just a number, it's a transformation. At that level, flying becomes second nature, and tier 5 skills, rare and devastating abilities, become accessible. In the game, most level 500 NPCs only have 1 or 2 tier 5 skills at best. Tier 5 skills aren't something you can just buy in the NPC shop, they're treasures, found in dungeons, and only if luck is on your side. But Alex's royal guards are an exception. Each of them has 3 to 4 tier 5 skills, a testament to his kingdom's power. "Your Majesty," Grixis says after a moment, his voice breaking Alex's thoughts, "if we encounter Thurn, shall I hold back, or do you wish for me to test his strength?" Alex smirks faintly, his crimson eyes glinting in the dim light of the miasma. "Test him," he says, his tone calm but commanding. "But don't kill him. We need him alive." Grixis nods sharply, his grip tightening on his blade. "Understood, Your Majesty." Just as they continue through the thickening webbing, Grixis suddenly halts. His nostrils flare, and his golden eyes narrow. "I sense a stealth creature nearby, Your Majesty." Alex's gaze flicks to the surrounding shadows, his senses sharpening. "I know. Go and catch it." Chapter 26, Grixis vs Thurn. Without hesitation, Grixis vanishes, his massive frame disappearing into the shadows with a speed that defies his size. The silence lasts only a second before he reappears in front of Alex, his clawed hand gripping the struggling form of a smaller arachne monster. The creature hisses and writhes, its multiple legs flailing as it tries in vain to free itself from Grixis's iron grip. Its glossy black exoskeleton gleams faintly in the miasma's eerie glow, and its 8 crimson eyes dart frantically between Alex and Grixis. "I found our stealthy friend," Grixis says, holding the arachne up like a trophy. "It was hiding in the canopy, trying to stay out of sight." Alex steps closer, his crimson eyes locking on to the creature's frantic gaze. "You're one of Thurn's scouts, aren't you?" His voice is calm, but there's a dangerous edge to it. "Tell me, what did he send you to do?" The arachne freezes for a moment, then hisses defiantly. "I will not betray my lord." Alex sighs, shaking his head. "Grixis, make it clear we're not playing games." Grixis smirks and tightens his grip just slightly, the sound of chitin creaking under pressure filling the air. The arachne lets out a choked screech, its defiance quickly turning to panic. I was sent to observe." It stammers. "Lord Thurn ordered me to see who was intruding in his territory. That's all, I swear." Alex raises an eyebrow. "And what were you planning to report?" The arachne hesitates, then spills its words in a rush. "2 intruders, very powerful. I was going to tell him everything I saw." Alex hums thoughtfully, then looks at Grixis. "Good catch." Grixis grins. "Shall I dispose of it, Your Majesty?" "No," Alex says. Alex continues. "Lead us to the lair of Thurn." The arachne hesitates, its eyes darting between Alex and Grixis before it nods frantically. "Why yes, yes. I will take you there." "Good," Alex says, gesturing for it to move forward. "Start walking." The arachne scuttles ahead, weaving through the dense webbing with practiced ease. Grixis follows closely, his massive blade resting on his shoulder as he keeps a watchful eye on the creature. Alex walks behind them, his steps calm and deliberate, his mind already piecing together the next steps. After some time, the 3 arrive at a large clearing dominated by an enormous cocoon-shaped structure. The webbed fortress looms high, its silken walls glistening faintly under the dim, sickly green glow of the miasma. The entire area is eerily silent, with no sign of movement or life. Alex stops, his sharp gaze scanning the lair. "Too quiet," he mutters under his breath. Just as he turns to question the arachne, the creature lets out a shrill screech. "Poison bomb," Grixis growls, tossing the remains of the creature aside as the smoke envelops them. His eyes gleam as he raises his blade, the edge glinting faintly in the dim light. Cheap trick. A shadow moves within the smoke, fast and deliberate. Without warning, Thurn lunges out of the haze, his massive form striking with the speed of a predator. His long, spindly legs aim for Alex in a vicious, stabbing motion. Before the attack can land, Grixis steps between them, his blade slamming against Thurn's legs with a deafening clang. The force of the clash sends ripples through the smoke, momentarily parting it. Not even a hello? Alex says, his voice calm but dripping with sarcasm as he watches from behind Grixis. Thurn clicks his mandibles, retreating a few steps as the smoke begins to clear. His 8 crimson eyes lock onto Alex, glowing with malice. You dare invade my domain and demand courtesy? He hisses, his voice a deep, resonant snarl. Grixis bares his teeth, his tail flicking with irritation. How dare an insect speak so presumptuously to his majesty, he growls, his grip tightening on his sword. Before Alex can respond, Grixis swings his massive blade in a wide arc. This time, the swing carries a little more force, fueled by his anger. The sheer power of the strike sends a shockwave rippling through the air, catching Thurn squarely and hurling him backward like a bolt of lightning. Thurn crashes into the side of his webbed fortress with a sickening crack, the impact sending tremors through the entire structure. He slumps to the ground momentarily, his legs splayed awkwardly, before shakily rising again. His crimson eyes blaze with fury, venom dripping from his mandibles as he hisses in rage. Grixis scratches the back of his head, his expression suddenly sheepish as he looks back at Alex. Sorry, Your Majesty. I lost control of my anger. Alex sighs, pinching the bridge of his nose as he steps forward. That's all right, he's not dead, Alex says, his tone calm but tinged with amusement. But you've definitely pissed him off. Thurn lets out a guttural snarl, his massive form shaking with rage. He slams his front legs into the ground, cracking the earth beneath him. You dare strike me with such insolence? He roars, his voice echoing through the clearing. I will make you suffer for this. Thurn lunges forward again, this time with unrestrained fury, his movements wild and erratic. His long legs stab and slash at the air as he barrels toward Grixis and Alex, the venom on his fangs glinting ominously. Grixis steps forward with a wide grin, his massive blade rising to meet Thurn's charge. The sound of steel clashing against chitin reverberates through the clearing as Grixis expertly parries the wild strikes. In the middle of the fray, Alex's voice echoes in Grixis' mind, calm yet firm. Grixis, I will remind you again, do not kill him. We need him alive. Grixis responds telepathically, his tone tinged with annoyance but obedient. Understood, Your Majesty. I'll keep it to Tier 2 skills. Thurn snarls, his legs striking with rapid precision, but Grixis sidesteps each blow effortlessly. With a deliberate move, Grixis counters, his blade glowing faintly as he activates a Tier 2 skill, Cleave Strike. The controlled attack sends a precise wave of force slicing through the air, slamming into Thurn's side and forcing him to stumble back, but leaving no fatal wounds. Chapter 27, Tier 5 Skill in Action. Thurn screeches in frustration, his massive body shaking as he tries to regain his footing. Is that all you've got? Grixis taunts, twirling his blade lazily. Thurn's 8 crimson eyes narrow, venom dripping from his fangs as he lunges again, this time with more focus. Grixis blocks easily, deflecting the blows without breaking a sweat. He steps forward, spinning his blade in a controlled arc, activating Blade Rush, a quick, non-lethal skill that sends a flurry of strikes toward Thurn's legs. The blows connect, forcing Thurn to retreat further, his movements becoming more sluggish. Still think you can make me suffer? Grixis smirks, his voice dripping with mockery. Thurn's mandibles clatter angrily as he glares at Grixis. You're holding back, he hisses, his voice filled with venomous fury. Why? Do you mock me? Grixis chuckles darkly. Mock you? You're not worth my full power, bug. Be grateful I'm sparing you. Grixis nods slightly, dodging another of Thurn's lunges with ease. Your Majesty wants you alive, he says aloud, his tone mocking. But don't worry, this is still fun for me. Thurn lets out a guttural roar, his form shaking with barely contained rage. His movements grow more erratic, his strikes less coordinated as he begins to succumb to exhaustion. Grixis, still using only Tier 2 skills, easily counters each attack, wearing him down bit by bit. Thurn snarls, his mandibles clashing together as venom drips to the ground, hissing upon impact. Don't underestimate me. He roars, his body trembling with anger. Without warning, his 8 legs stab into the ground, and his body glows faintly green. Venom spikes. He bellows. Spikes of hardened venom erupt from the ground, aiming directly for Grixis. Each spike glistens with deadly poison, their tips razor sharp. Grixis doesn't flinch. Instead, He steps aside with casual grace, dodging the onslaught with precise, fluid movements. His golden eyes gleam with amusement as he sidesteps each spike effortlessly, his blade never once leaving his shoulder. Use all your skills now before it's too late? Grixx taunts, his smirk widening. Thurn growls, his crimson eyes narrowing. He rears back, his mandibles opening wide as a green mist begins to swirl around him. Venom cloud. He hisses, unleashing a toxic fog that spreads rapidly, filling the air with a deadly miasma. The cloud engulfs Grixx, but the towering warrior simply stands still, his tail swaying lazily behind him. The mist seems to swirl around him without effect, as if repelled by his sheer presence. You really think poison will work on me? Grixx chuckles, his voice carrying through the fog. You'll have to do better than that, bug. Thurn clicks his mandibles angrily, his legs stabbing at the ground in frustration. Stop mocking me. He roars. His body shudders as he activates his final skill. Venom chains. Thick, glowing green tendrils of venom shoot out from his body, snaking toward Grixx with incredible speed. The chains whip through the air, aiming to bind Grixx and dissolve his defenses. Grixx finally moves. With a single step, he pivots, twisting his body just enough to let the chains miss their mark. He swings his blade lazily, cutting through the venom chains as though they're made of air. The remains of the chains dissolve into harmless droplets, sizzling against the ground. Thurn stumbles back, his breath ragged, venom pooling beneath his trembling legs. His crimson eyes dart toward Grixx, filled with desperation and fury. Grixx smirks, rolling his shoulders as though warming up. Face it, Thurn, Grixx says, his voice dripping with disdain. You're out of tricks. From behind, Alex observes in silence, his crimson eyes thoughtful. Thurn's desperation is exactly what he wanted. Breaking his spirit now would make him easier to control later. Through telepathy, Alex's calm voice echoes in Grixx's mind. End it, Grixx. Use a tier 5 skill. Make sure it doesn't kill him, but scare the soul out of him. Grixx's smirk fades, replaced by a sharp grin that radiates menace. Understood, Your Majesty, he replies telepathically, his voice tinged with excitement. Grixx steps forward, his massive blade glowing ominously as he lifts it high. A low hum fills the air, the ground trembling under the sheer pressure of his energy. The trees surrounding them begin to sway violently as the atmosphere grows heavy. Thurn's eyes widen in fear, his mandibles clattering. What are you doing? He stammers, his voice trembling. You wanted my full power, Grixx says, his voice low and menacing. Here it is. With a deafening roar, Grixx activates his tier 5 skill, Oblivion Cleave. He swings his blade downward in a devastating arc, unleashing an enormous wave of energy. The ground shatters beneath the force, a blinding light exploding outward as the wave cuts through the air. The impact is catastrophic. The surrounding forest disintegrates into nothingness, trees reduced to ash and dust as the energy tears through the landscape. A shockwave ripples outward, uprooting anything that dares stand in its path. When the light fades, the battlefield is unrecognizable. The forest is gone, replaced by a barren wasteland of scorched earth and debris. Thurn lies on the ground, his legs sprawled awkwardly as he trembles. His exoskeleton is cracked in places, venom oozing from his wounds. Despite his injuries, he is still alive, barely. Grixx lowers his blade, his golden eyes glowing faintly as he exhales slowly. He turns to Alex, a satisfied grin on his face. Didn't aim for him, Your Majesty. He's alive, just like you wanted. Alex steps forward, his gaze fixed on Thurn. The once proud Arachne Lord is now a trembling, broken figure, his crimson eyes filled with terror. Still think you can challenge us? Alex asks, his voice calm but cold. Thurn struggles to speak, his voice barely above a whisper. Chow. How are you this strong? Alex crouches beside him, his crimson eyes locking onto Thurn's. This was just a fraction of our power, he says softly, his tone laced with menace. Now, do you understand why resistance is pointless? Thurn shudders, his mandibles twitching. I yield. Please help me, he whispers, his voice filled with despair. Chapter 28, Veltha. Alex tilts his head slightly, pretending not to hear. His crimson eyes gleam with amusement as he leans in just a little closer. What was that? He asks, his tone smooth and mocking. I can't hear you. Thurn's broken body trembles, his wounds searing with pain. Every breath feels like fire in his lungs, his limbs barely responding. But he knows this is his only chance. If he hesitates, he will die. With all the strength he can muster, he forces his mandibles to move. His voice is weak, pitiful, but the words escape. Please. Save me, he begs, his pride shattered. Alex watches him for a moment, expression unreadable. Then, slowly, his lips curl into a smile, cold, knowing, victorious. Should have said that earlier, he muses, standing up. You're about to die. Thurn lets out a faint, choked noise, too weak to protest. Without breaking eye contact, Alex reaches into his inventory with a flick of his fingers. A faint shimmer appears in his palm as a medium-grade healing potion materializes. The glass vial is filled with a swirling, golden liquid, radiating a faint warmth. He kneels once more, lifting Thurn's head slightly with one hand. Lucky for you, Alex murmurs, bringing the vial to his lips. I don't let useful things die so easily. He tilts the potion forward, forcing Thurn to drink. The liquid glides down his throat, and almost instantly, the wounds across his body begin to mend, cracked exoskeleton sealing, torn muscles repairing. A deep, shuddering breath escapes Thurn as relief washes over him. Thurn lies still for a moment, his breathing ragged but steady. The pain that once racked his body is gone, replaced by a lingering exhaustion. He flexes his limbs, testing his strength, and to his astonishment, he finds himself fully restored. Alex stands over him, arms crossed, watching with quiet amusement as Thurn realizes the extent of his recovery. The crimson-eyed ruler tilts his head slightly, then speaks, his voice smooth but carrying an undeniable weight. Now that you are healed, Alex says, his gaze piercing, I will ask you a question. Thurn stiffens, his 8 crimson eyes locking onto Alex with caution. Are you going to bow down to me? A heavy silence hangs in the air. The question is simple, yet the weight behind it is suffocating. Thurn knows that his answer will determine his fate. His pride as a lord screams at him to refuse, but the memory of that overwhelming power, the effortless destruction, the sheer gap between them, claws at his resolve. His mandibles twitch, hesitation clear in his posture. His mind races, searching for any option that does not end in his death or servitude. But deep down, he already knows the truth. There is no escape. Alex watches him, unbothered, as if he already knows the answer. Thurn swallows hard, his voice low but clear. Do I have a choice? Alex's lips curl into an amused smirk. His eyes gleam as he leans slightly forward, his voice smooth and calm. Of course you have a choice, he says. As long as you're prepared to die. Thurn flinches. His legs tremble beneath him, his exoskeleton still aching despite the healing. He glances at Grix, whose eyes remain indifferent. A deep shudder runs through Thurn's body. His pride has already been shattered. His strength means nothing before Grix's overwhelming power. He knows resisting would only lead to a swift and merciless end. Slowly, painfully, he lowers his body to the ground. His 8 legs fold beneath him as he kneels, his mandibles clicking softly. I, Thurn, Lord of the Arachne, he declares, voice strained but steady, swear my loyalty to you. From this day forth, my fangs and my brood are yours to command. Alex watches him for a moment, then nods, satisfied. Good, he says simply. Thurn remains kneeling, his pride a distant memory. The weight of his oath settles over him like chains, yet he dares not resist. After a brief pause, Alex steps forward, placing a hand on Thurn's head. There's no warmth in the gesture, only the undeniable weight of ownership. Now, Alex says, his tone casual, tell me who we should visit next. Thurn hesitates for only a moment before responding. Your Majesty. What about Veltha? At this, Alex raises an eyebrow. The water serpent? Thurn clarifies. She rules the marshlands and commands the creatures of the swamp. She will not submit easily. Alex hums in thought. He doesn't particularly care about the order in which he subjugates the monster lords, he will visit them all in time. Then let's go to Veltha, he decides. Shortly after, they arrive in Veltha's domain, the marshlands. The air is thick with mist, the scent of damp earth and stagnant water clinging to every breath. Towering trees loom overhead, their twisted roots disappearing beneath the murky swamp. The water is dark, hiding whatever lurks beneath its surface. Yet, despite the eerie silence, not a single creature attacks. Alex walks forward calmly, his crimson eyes scanning the area. Shadows shift within the trees, glowing eyes peering from beneath the water's surface. But none dare move against them. Oh, they are not attacking, Grix muses, his tail flicking lazily behind him. Thurn nods, his voice low. None of these beasts will attack as long as I am with you. The monster lords know each other. Veltha and I. We've fought before. Alex raises an eyebrow. And? Thurn hesitates before responding. I win, he admits. But she's cunning and strong. Even if she knows she can't win, she won't surrender easily. Alex smirks, unconcerned. Then we'll make her. A ripple disturbs the water beside them. A massive shape slithers just beneath the surface, barely visible in the dim light. The swamp falls deathly silent. Then, a voice, smooth, cold, and echoing, rises from the mist. The voice hisses, dripping with venomous disdain. Thurn, why are you here again? Didn't the meeting get scheduled for next month? The water churns as the massive serpent shifts beneath the surface. Or, are you here to humiliate me again? Her tone darkens, the glow of her eyes narrowing dangerously. This time, you might not leave this place in one piece. Chapter 29, Making the Four Lords his subject. The colossal serpent, her iridescent blue-green scales shimmer like liquid as she rises above them. Her body coils effortlessly, massive yet elegant, her golden eyes glowing with quiet menace. A frilled crest fans out from her head, water dripping from it as she regards them with amusement. Thurn exhales, exasperated but cautious. He knows Veltha well, her pride is as deep as the swamp itself. He raises his arm slightly, a gesture of peace. Relax, Veltha. I'm not here to fight you, he says, his mandibles clicking lightly. I came to introduce you to my new master, His Majesty Alex. For a moment, there is silence. Then, Veltha's laughter echoes through the swamp, low and taunting. No way, she scoffs. You? Bowing to another monster? Her coils shift, sending ripples across the murky water. Is this your new way of toying with me, Thurn? She snaps, her voice laced with anger. You think this is funny? Thurn sighs, turning to Alex. Your Majesty, I told you, she's very stubborn. His tone is resigned, but there's a flicker of something else, amusement, perhaps. Then, he adds, what about making her suffer a little? Just don't overdo it. Alex doesn't respond immediately. Instead, he turns his gaze to Grixis. The lizardman grins, sharp teeth glinting in the dim light. Grixis steps forward without hesitation, rolling his shoulders as his muscles tense. There's no drawn-out exchange, no taunting words, just action. In the blink of an eye, his aura flares violently, distorting the air around him. The swamp trembles under the sudden surge of mana. Then, he vanishes a split second later, a deafening explosion erupts. The murky waters part violently as a shockwave tears through the marsh. The towering trees shatter like brittle twigs, their trunks sent flying. The creatures of the swamp screech in terror and scatter into the depths, their instincts screaming at them to flee. Veltha barely has time to react before the full force of a Grixis' fist crashes into her. A massive, clawed fist slams into her coiled body, the impact sending her colossal form hurtling through the swamp. Her scales, tough enough to withstand the strongest of attacks, crack under the sheer force. The serpent shrieks as her body crashes through the landscape, uprooting everything in her path. She writhes, twisting to counterattack, but Grixis is relentless. He appears above her in a blur, his claws crackling with raw energy. Another impact. The ground erupts. Water, debris, and remnants of Veltha's ruined domain rain down in every direction. Within moments, it's over. The once great marshland is unrecognizable, a battlefield of destruction. The trees are gone, the swamp reduced to a gaping crater. The water has been blasted away, leaving only broken earth behind. And at the center of it all, Veltha kneels. Her massive body is battered, coils trembling uncontrollably. Blood seeps from deep gashes along her scales, her crest shattered. She gasps for breath, golden eyes wide with something she has never felt before, true fear. Her gaze flickers to Grixis. The lizardman merely cracks his neck, looking entirely unbothered, as if he hadn't just leveled an entire region. Veltha's breath hitches. Slowly, painfully, she shifts her gaze to Alex. The crimson-eyed ruler stands before her, expression unreadable, his arms crossed in silent expectation. Veltha shudders, swallowing her pride. Her broken body refuses to rise, but she forces herself to lower her head further, bowing deeply before him. She rasps, her voice hoarse. I surrender. Alex watches her for a moment, then lets out a quiet hum of approval. Without a word, he flicks his fingers, and a shimmering vial appears in his hand. The golden liquid inside swirls with faint warmth, another medium-grade healing potion. He steps forward, placing it in front of Veltha. Drink, he orders, his tone calm but absolute. Veltha hesitates, her pride still resisting, but the pain racking her body is undeniable. With a quiet hiss, she lowers her head and laps up the potion. Almost immediately, the wounds across her massive body begin to mend. The deep gashes close, her cracked scales repairing themselves. Strength slowly returns to her limbs. She exhales, lowering her head further in submission. Without wasting any more time, Alex turns, his eyes flickering with cold amusement. Next, we move to Groth, he announces. Thurn and Veltha exchange wary glances. The air here is thick with heat, the sky hazy with rising embers. Blackened earth stretches for miles, rivers of molten lava snaking through jagged terrain. In the distance, a fortress of obsidian looms, its spires glowing faintly with the pulsing heat of the land itself. At the heart of the ash plains, atop a cracked plateau surrounded by flowing lava, stands Groth. His hunched form draped in layers of soot-stained robes. His gnarled staff, carved from obsidian, pulses with embers of dormant fire magic. Though his body is frail, his eyes burn with wisdom and raw power. As Alex and his entourage approach, Groth's gaze flickers from Thurn to Veltha, both once proud lords now standing subdued beside their new ruler. The mighty Arachne Lord, silent and obedient. The water serpent, eyes downcast. For a long moment, Groth says nothing. Then, without hesitation, he kneels. "I see," Groth murmurs, his voice like crackling embers. No words are needed. Thurn exhales, relieved that this time there will be no battle. Veltha, however, remains rigid, still processing how quickly Groth submitted. Alex watches him, arms crossed. His eyes flicker with interest, but also mild disappointment. "That's it?" he muses. "No resistance?" Groth chuckles, tapping his staff against the ground. The motion sends a soft ripple of heat through the air. "I am old, but not foolish. If those two have bowed, then I know resistance is meaningless." His gaze sharpens. Grix chuckles under his breath, tail flicking lazily. "Smart old man." Alex raises an eyebrow, his voice sharp but tinged with approval. "Good. It seems you're not entirely blind, Groth." He pauses, considering the old monster's submission, his gaze thoughtful. Grix steps forward. "His Majesty, Alex, want you to take an oath," he states simply, his voice low but firm. Without a word, Groth kneels fully, his ancient body creaking under the weight of his years. "I, Groth, Master of Fire, swear my loyalty to you, Alex, ruler of all that stands before you," he says, his voice deep and gravelly like distant thunder. "From this day forth, my flames are yours to command." Chapter 30, The Plan to Attack Missorn City. Alex watches him, his crimson eyes cold yet approving. "Very well," he says, gesturing for Groth to rise. "You will not regret this choice." Groth stands slowly, his gnarled staff pulsing with faint embers. He casts a glance at Thurn and Veltha, both silent and subdued. The sight of them, once proud and mighty, now standing as mere followers, reinforces the gravity of his decision. Then, Alex flicks his wrist, and a gleaming silver carriage appears before them. The moment it manifests, the air shifts. The carriage is unlike anything they have ever seen, floating effortlessly, its sleek frame made of an unknown metal that hums with restrained power. Strange, intricate runes glow faintly along its surface, pulsating like a heartbeat. Groth's eyes widen, his grip tightening on his staff. This is not natural magic," he mutters, voice tinged with something rare, genuine disbelief. "No spell, no construct I know of can achieve such a thing." Thurn crosses his arms, watching Groth's reaction with some amusement. "I was shocked too, old man," he says. "Took me a while to accept it. But His Majesty's power isn't something we can measure." Alex steps forward, placing a hand on the side of the carriage. A soft hum resonates through the air as the runes flare slightly in response to his touch. "Enough gawking," he says, his voice calm but firm. "Get in." Groth hesitates. "I may be old, but I am not feeble-minded," he mutters, still processing the sheer impossibility of the construct. He steps forward nonetheless, his curiosity outweighing his apprehension. The journey is swift, unnaturally so. It isn't long before the horizon shifts again, this time revealing something none of them are prepared for. The city unfolds beneath them like something out of legend. Veltha's breath catches in her throat. This is not possible." Thurn leans forward, mandibles clicking in stunned silence. He struggles to comprehend what he's seeing. "Wow. If someone told me this is a domain of a god, I will believe them." Groth, for the first time in centuries, is completely speechless. His fingers tremble against his staff as he gazes down at the sprawling metropolis. How could something like this exist here in the forest, without us knowing?" Alex, seated comfortably, watches their reactions with mild amusement. "It doesn't just exist," he says coolly. "It belongs to me." As they descend toward the central plaza, the true weight of their reality sets in. The city isn't just enormous, it's filled with power. Below them, figures move with disciplined precision. The city's guards stand in formation, their armor gleaming under the strange, ambient glow of the metropolis. Each one radiates strength, without a doubt, just as strong as the three former lords, if not stronger. Thurn stiffens. This can't be right," he mutters. They're as strong as us." Veltha's coils tighten, unease rippling through her massive frame. "No," she corrects, her voice low. "Some of them are stronger." Thorn's expression darkens. "Impossible," he breathes, but deep down, he knows what he's seeing is real. These aren't ordinary soldiers. Alex steps out first, descending gracefully onto the smooth, polished ground. The moment he does, the guards all kneel, a synchronized display of absolute obedience. He turns back to the three. Welcome to my kingdom, Alex says, his crimson gaze gleaming with cold amusement. And to the new order of this world. The meeting room is vast yet minimalistic, its dark stone walls lined with faintly glowing runes. A large circular table sits at the center, its polished surface reflecting the flickering light of arcane lamps. Alex sits at the head of the table, his fingers interlocked as he surveys the four figures before him, Nasara, Thurn, Veltha, and Groth. His voice is calm, yet carries an edge of authority. I heard you had a plan, he says, his crimson gaze flicking between them. What is it? Groth, the eldest among them, leans slightly on his gnarled staff, his ember-like eyes glinting with calculation. Your Majesty, he begins, his voice rough like crackling fire, the plan is to attack Nisorn City. Alex raises an eyebrow, unimpressed. Whose plan? It's Tolga's plan, Groth admits. At the mention of the name, Alex tilts his head slightly. Tolga. He repeats, as if testing the name on his tongue. Then, his gaze sharpens. Does any of you know where this Tolga is? The four exchange glances. No, Thurn mutters. Before the silence drags, Nasara speaks up. But we do have a meeting scheduled next month, Your Highness, she says, her golden eyes steady. Tolga will come. Alex glances at her. Next month? He echoes. She nods. Yes. A moment passes before Alex leans back slightly. That's 4 days, he muses. His fingers drum lightly against the table. I suppose I can wait. Alex lets the silence linger for a moment, then leans forward, resting his elbows on the table. His crimson eyes flicker as he studies the four before him. So, he says evenly, just like I asked Nasara, do you want to live in the city? He gestures subtly toward Nasara. She's already brought all her Arachne subordinates here. His gaze sweeps over them, waiting. Groth doesn't hesitate. He slams his staff against the floor with a loud thud and bows his head. I will, Your Majesty. Without a doubt. Thurn exhales sharply through his mandibles, glancing at Nasara, then back at Alex. It'd be foolish not to, he mutters. Then, more firmly, I'll bring my people here. Veltha coils slightly, her eyes narrowing as she processes the offer. After a moment, she flicks her tail against the ground, her voice steady. I'll come as well. Alex nods, as if he expected nothing less. Good. The four bow their heads in unison. As the four leave the chamber, Alex leans back in his chair, exhaling softly. Once the room falls silent, Alex lifts his hand and calls forth his status screen. A translucent panel materializes before him, glowing faintly with golden letters. His eyes scan the information displayed, his expression unreadable.